Make sure we're not muted.
You're not muted. You're unmuted. It looks good this time.
But we don't want another repeat.
Oh man, we did pretty good on episode 1, and then episode 2 was just like no.
Yeah, we did great episode 1 and then train wreck.
It was okay. Apparently, it's a hilarious train wreck, so that's what matters.
It's very funny just to hear you laugh at nothing.
Hi everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It's October 2nd, 2021. It is our 202 episode, I think. I put it on there earlier.
It's one of them. It's some kind of number.
I don't know if it matters at this point in time. I gotta be honest.
It's
like
the 202 spectacular episode. No, it's not. We're not gonna do anything special. We're too old for that.
I haven't done spectacular in a billion years, you know.
I don't have it in me anymore.
So, why don't we just dive right into our topics with the normal docket? So this is a two-parter for D&D.
There's a big announcement.
Yeah. Why don't we start with the product-related announcement side of things?
With that first.
So, there's going to be a rules expansion combination kind of thing. Now, the problem I have with this, and this is going to be the big problem I'm going to have with this also, it's the only place... So they're having a rules expansion coming out, okay? What it is a box set selling 3 books together. 2 which are previously done, and 1 new one.
I don't like that. I would just like, hey, release a new DMG with all these rules in it, please.
Mm-hmm.
We need a better one.
They released more information.
Really
so I'll link the product in chat here. This is the product this is the only product they're showing. They are not showing any other products right now, and this includes Monsters of the Multiverse, which I want to talk about.
I'll probably get Monsters of the Multiverse, but I already have these other 2 books, so...
It will theoretically be sold separately.
I assume it would.
So, this is what I don't like about it, is they have not announced it separately on its own right now. They say it's the debut of this, meaning they will probably give a time release, which I really don't like.
No, you shouldn't gate, because these rules are going to be important. If there are clarifications on things, especially clarifications on things in the DMG, which I maintain is a kind of a useless book 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like Xanathar's and Tasha's are just going to be as is.
Which I have those, so that's fine.
If they're doing a rules update, they shouldn't be doing this, because Xanathar has its own rules that contradict the player's handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide, and Tasha's has whole new rules that contradict everything.
That's why they need a new DMG or a new player's handbook, I think. Not a new rule book. They need to print all of these together, and I don't know, like...
Well, Monsters of the Multiverse. The only 2 things that we know are going to be in it are 30 updated player character races, which tells me they're going to add the new Tasha. Was it Tasha's that did that? The Tasha shit to the races and fuck them up and make them all generic.
I also just want to say this about that. Tasha's rules are meant to be optional. However, every new race that has been released uses them, meaning they are not optional. Yeah. You have to use them.
It's so hateful about it. They call it optional and make it mandatory, and they're gonna really make it mandatory now, which means like this is gonna be 5.25. I feel like in the community.
Yeah, it will, and depending on how they're handling races, and I already think they're gonna handle it like Tasha's, because Jeremy Crawford has basically said that at this point. I will once again. I'll just use the old rules, and then for new races, make some new ones. I don't because the Tasha's rules are so broken and min-maxy. I don't like them.
And generic, min-maxy, broken. These are 3 bad things to add to your game. Now, granted, the other part of the book that I like is massive bestiary, but they say 250 redesigned monsters and stat blocks. Are they new monsters or old monsters?
Maybe they're bringing some older edition monsters in.
No. See, or
they're just redesigning the entire monster manual.
What they're doing is they're taking the classic monster manual and they're applying the Tasha's race rules to all the monsters. They're all redesigned.
Imagine. Imagine. God, it'd be awful. I mean...
Oh, you want to be a dragon? I just apply this.
I just want to be
dragon.
I just want a new bestiary. I don't really want this book. I just want a new bestiary. 5e needs a new bestiary. Please God.
Definitely needs an update.
I mean, they're technically releasing a dragon one, so I mean, like, that's fine with that.
The part of it that I will like is if they do actually have just 250 redesigned monsters from previous editions that haven't been included. Great. That means 250. It's half a bestiary. The other rest of that stuff, I don't know what else they're going to have in Monsters in the Multiverse, but I'm suspect of it already.
These player character stuff, I won't really use if I get this book. The monsters I'll probably.
Damn you, computer! Since I accidentally
like how I don't use
tomorrow. Can you hear that?
I don't use most of Tasha's except for the items.
I don't hear anything.
Okay.
I don't hear anything.
Okay, so you don't hear the.
No, I don't hear that.
Oh, good. If it's not, the mic's not picking it up, I'm glad. It's annoying to me.
I don't hear anything.
I like there was always something that was a little loose in the computer that could knock against the one fan, and when I accidentally tripped into it yesterday, which caused like the entire system to reset because I think I knocked the power, it knocked that thing also that's more into the fan, so it's been much noisier.
Oof, that's unfortunate. I mean, it's probably not as bad as when Lynn's CPU sounded like it had rocks in it.
That's probably not a good thing to have.
No, it's not.
This isn't really quite bad, rock noise, but you can hear that it's like something knocking against a fan constantly. It's like if you put a stick into like a fan or something, and you hear that.
That's not good.
Okay, so we're getting a slight fan noise. So it's not as bad for anybody else. It's terrible for me. Grad. But this is okay. This is another thing about it. I have to say, this is $170. Each of these books, I don't think is
No, they're 50 apiece.
Yeah, so I'm spending $20 extra for a DM screen and a box.
A DM screen and a box. Who cares about that?
Oh, hell
Also, I'm not gonna buy this set. To me, this is like, hey, you played this game for years and you bought all these books. Fuck you.
If they made it cheaper, if they made it that because the Xanathars and Tashas are out, they should have made it cheaper. Yeah. They've been out. Those people that were going to buy them were going to buy them. Like, even if you don't, like, make a huge discount, like, even, like, $40 discount, sell it for, like,
it's like a buy one or buy two, get one free deal.
Yeah.
Right? You buy 2 books, they make it like $100 and everything else is
free. You get, like, give Xanathar
like,
free, right?
120 would have been
people.
Yeah. Because even though a book selling is expensive, I know it's not $50. They're earning...
It's not.
These books, I have them right next to me. One of them has a price sticker on them still, because the comic shop I bought it from screwed me over, and I don't like it. Tasha's cost $49.95.
Mm-hmm.
So I can assume that these books individually would cost that much.
But
you know,
even making it, I think it's probably only like
got a DM screen.
15 to 20 for making it. So I mean, honestly, like selling it for like 100, 120, I would have been okay with 120 even, you know. But 170? What the? It just feels so...
It's Wizards.
It's
Hey,
Hasbro.
give us money.
Hasbro likes their money.
They've been getting worse. As
really
a problem. You know, we're seeing it in Magic, we're seeing it in this. Which is another thing that, like, a side tangent, but a thing that matters to me. I would always, when I'm buying a new set of Magic, buy a box of cards of draft boosters, because those are the ones I liked. Not the new, because they've got new set boosters, which I don't even know. They're not great, you know. They're slightly more expensive, and you might get extra rares in them. So gambling more than the cards.
Like a 1% chance.
Something like that. So like you could get
less
more
than
than your money's worth. Maybe.
Yeah.
Regardless, though. That's not the big problem. They also sell, like, their what the hell do they call them? Like, we always call them fat packs. You know,
that's what we call them.
The little boxes. They call them something else now. They've switched over from 10 draft to 8 collectors or set boosters. Less cards, and also it's more expensive now. I'm like, they made this product that I don't want it anymore. So now I'm buying one less product from them because of this, because they made terrible choices and made it more expensive and less worth value, you know? And this feels like this is more expensive, less worth value. This is not worth the value of the stuff you buy on it. Granted,
I did a little bit digging. Monsters and Multiverse will be standalone at some point in 2022 or 2023. No one knows. But they've announced it will be standalone at some point.
I figured it would be. I did figure it would be.
That's a long time to be standalone.
Could be a couple months or a whole year. Don't sell your books like that, especially when it's a rule book.
Yes.
Are you going to sell it in a PDF sooner? Because you know it's going to happen if you do.
Straight up, I get why Hasbro doesn't want Wizards selling, like, in PDF format that much. Just sell your shit digital, dude. Like, for real.
And if you sell it at a discounted cost, because air quotes PDF, you'll get more legitimate business.
And you can sell it for a decent price. Like, Paizo, I always feel like, you know, they sell their PDFs for a little bit expensive, but they're PDFs and they're a lot more convenient, you know.
Is it like, what, 29 or 39?
They're like $30 in comparison to like the 50.
I mean, if it's like $29.99 or whatever, that's a pretty reasonable price. I think you have a lot of people that would be okay with that price.
See, that's why I look at that and I'm like, I'd go for that if I really needed that book, you know.
PDFs usually cost around like
they're like $10.
20. They're like $20 to $30 usually.
Yeah.
For a rulebook PDF. Paizo's are about 25, I think.
Yeah, they're like 20, 25. I think Paizo's are like the top end, you know.
Yeah.
But they're still within that reasonable range. Wizards could do the same.
They could, but they won't.
I think during the weird D&D thing they did say they want to do more stuff with like D&D Beyond, but also I don't want to use D&D Beyond.
No.
Well, like you can only access their books that you buy through D&D Beyond as digital in D&D Beyond.
Which means you
can't
may
use them
potentially
elsewhere.
be buying them twice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which no one wants to do. You've made it that they have to do that. You've made it people don't want to do that.
If D&D Beyond ever goes down or goes out of business, you've just lost your things.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's another reason why just Wizards in general. This one, like Magic Arena versus Magic physical cards. People kind of hate that difference sometimes because comparing it to Pokemon trading card game, every pack you buy gives you a code for a digital pack if you want to play the game digitally. Magic does nothing like that. They separate them completely. You have to buy both sets completely differently. It sucks. They're so bad. Pokemon is less greedy than Wizards.
Nintendo
Pokemon
is less greedy than Hasbro.
But Pokemon is also the most successful franchise in all of time.
Yeah,
they can afford to be like, whatever.
I know, but still, they should have that greed.
I mean, most of the money Pokemon makes does come from card game and toys, so
yeah,
doesn't come from the video games,
toys, and I think Pokemon Go now.
Yes, Pokemon Go makes a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
It is a thing I have spent money on that I'm trying to spend, balance my money spending on it. Because once you get
spent a single
I don't play it
on any mobile game ever.
It is the only one I have spent money on, and for a while there I was getting up there, and I'm like, nah, I gotta cut back. I can have a budget. I can have it's almost like a subscription fee or something. Have a budget, make it work.
Yeah,
I play it enough of it that I don't mind that.
You play it during D&D games sometimes.
Sometimes. See, I can most of the time. I at least randomly check to see, like, see a Growlithe showed up.
You gotta catch that Growlithe.
Catch that Growlithe.
I do. I have to make it a candy. Look, as soon as I hit level 50, which will be sometime next year, I'll probably cut off playing a lot. Gotta be honest on that way. But it's like, to get to level 50 is a lot of experience points, so I've been grinding them fucking out like there's no tomorrow. Once you get that max level, it does it. Yeah, definitely, like, the role-playing games are much harder to make money, and I can understand... Yeah. But, like, I think Paizo works, because they vomit out products that work.
Oh, God, they really do vomit products.
Well,
though.
I mean, like, they have tiles, mini books, large core books.
They have, like, little add-ons you can get that are just nice to have.
Adventure paths.
Also,
adventure paths, single adventures.
Basic rules, for the most part, are for the Pathfinder. Technically, are just free.
Yeah.
And Paizo's like okay with that.
Yeah. Paizo doesn't mind other people giving into their sphere. Also, like, I feel like that was Wizards back in 3rd edition. They didn't mind people getting into their sphere because, like, yes, you see 3.5 books. Sort of, but I don't see the same vomit-worthy that was during, like, Paizo 1st edition. You know, Pathfinder 1st edition. There was a lot of third-party stuff, and it felt a lot like 3rd edition, a lot of third-party stuff.
There's not a lot of third-party Paizo stuff.
Yeah. It's there, you can find it, but it's usually, like, the bigger publishing companies do it a lot more.
Yeah, or it's...
Press.
Yeah. Or Ghostfire Games, things like that.
Was Green Ronin does some too, I think. Maybe.
I think they do.
There's a few other companies that do stuff for it, but they're spread out too. They do a lot of other stuff.
And they're usually like bestiaries and settings.
Hey, they do settings, because if you sell your own setting and people like it, great, people will want to buy into it. Bestiaries, people fucking want bestiaries.
5e needs. This has been my constant complaint of 5th edition. It just doesn't have enough monsters.
That's weird. I didn't at all make a custom monster last night for a certain game.
No, I mean, I've never made a custom monster at all. Everything you thought in my game is in the monster manual.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, the Overnome is in the monster manual. Didn't you see it?
Well, yeah.
It's the unfortunate thing that I feel like, in that case, yes, they make it that you can customize monsters, but the problem with customizing monsters is you don't actually have the tools like you did in earlier editions.
No, you do not.
You're guessing.
Have to guess.
Yeah.
That's why I back everything the Grimhollow writers make, because they're making templates now.
I think the Dungeon Master's Guide has a, like, here's a general guide to follow.
It's like here's a chart of ability names, how they increase CR. And that's it.
It's not great, but like you can look at it as a glance and be like, okay.
It is functional enough.
Yeah, it could be a lot better.
And I think that's the issue, is that they kind of force people, if you want variety, to do that. Like, granted, like at low levels, it's a lot of goblins, kobolds, orcs, but
skeleton, capybara.
But
listen, no, I'm gonna marry them. Okay.
So I would like some variety even at low levels. Like, if I go into Pathfinder 1st edition, I could find so much more even at low levels. So many
low CR monsters.
Yeah, they got monsters of every CR, a lot of them. So you have like and different types too. Like, maybe I want an ooze at this kind of level. You know, you can get a couple of them, but like you have certain, like, I couldn't have someone fight 10. You know, if they add up to like the proper difficulty. So it's hard to get to in more bestiaries. Anyway, so yeah.
This set does also dash my hopes of a better written Dungeon Master's Guide.
Well, there is some hope in 2024.
Oh, it's so far away.
Too far.
That is the 50th anniversary of D&D.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the hell they're going to do.
They probably don't even know what they're doing.
They probably don't. They're probably
like, we should really do
something. It's sort of like, it's this terrible thing of like, they're saying that it's going to be the next evolution. well, it could be a 6th edition. But would they go with 6th edition?
I don't think it's buzzword. I really don't think they're going to do 6th edition.
Well, 5th edition is 10 years old. I didn't know that.
It is. That's old.
You know,
it's because they haven't done anything lately.
Yeah, they really haven't.
Yeah. Unlike the other editions, it just doesn't feel like they've done a lot with it.
I don't think we're going to get a 6th edition.
I agree on that one. I don't think
I think we're going to get we may get actual quote-unquote 5.5.
But even then, they're going to have to rebrand it because 5.5 feels like meh for that 50th anniversary. You know.
No, you know what they'll do? They'll just call it like Advanced 5th Edition or something stupid like that.
A, B, and D, 5e.
No, it's so bad because like AD&D had like 3 versions of it too. 2nd edition had like 3 versions that no one like. There's God, it's
the dog.
It's a bark.
Yeah, he's barking.
2nd edition, 3rd edition, 3.5. They all had a lot of books. Even 4th edition, for its lesser age, felt like it had a lot of material out. I think it's just they don't put things out for 5th edition. Like, we get like 3 or 4 books a year, and some of them are like adventures. Some of them are like, well, that's interesting, but not everybody's going to use it. And some of them are like, well, that's annoying, you know? I feel like they don't put out great products for it either, 95% of the time. Like, Tasha's has some good things in it, but also some bad things in it, so it's a meh book. Xanathar's...
It really is a meh book.
Xanathar's
is, like, pretty good.
See, that's probably the best one. But then again, like, you also get, like, freaking, like, it's the Strixhaven book, and I'm like, okay, great. Are you playing in that? No? They don't really care. That's the point of it. It's like you can have a book on like a world, but you don't follow through a lot. They don't follow through on these.
Unless you like running modules and just playing whatever the basic stuff is. If you are a hardcore D&D person, you have your own world. So anything that is setting specific doesn't apply to those people.
I mean, like, honestly, I'm pretty hardcore, but I also am pretty lazy. So, like, I've done my own worlds in the past, and I've kind of reached the point in time where I'm like, if I wanted to create something unique, I could just throw it in fucking Faerun and just use their lore and not have to make up 95% of it, you know? Honestly speaking, that's kind of where I've reached my evolution. How many games I've run. I don't mind my own worlds at this point in time, but, like, it's just such a chore sometimes, and especially like, do you want to use that world a lot? You know, the world you design, is that the final world you want? Or like, and I understand there's people that just baby their own world. You and Will, Lightning, both have your own baby worlds that you create a lot of details for. But I've always been one that I'm like, I've created a world and I'm like, that's neat. But now I have this idea for this other entire thing, and I'd like to use that kind of stuff. And this doesn't fit in this world here, so I'm going to have to make an entirely new one. You know, and I do that a lot.
Because you can't commit.
I have too many ideas.
I mean, I have tons of ideas. I just realized that some of them are not going to be anything. Like, if I was going to do... Like, I've got some fun ideas. Like, I'd love to do a modern D&D game. I probably wouldn't make a new world for that. I'd probably just be like, yeah, it's Earth, but this weird thing happened. Because I don't plan on running anything more than, like, a game. Like, one game in it. Where, like, my world, I plan on running a lot of stuff in it, so I'm okay with putting in the effort.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see what they do in 2024. It's a couple years. It's 3 years off, actually.
It's a long way away.
And we'll probably hear more about it in 2023, honestly.
And we'll probably not hear anything until, like, the last minute, or they're like, hey, remember that announcement we made 2 years ago?
Well, you know, when 2023, when we finally get the Monsters of the Multiverse on its own, you know? Oh, God. Yes, I will take an off-topic comment. The Critical Role phenomenon. Critical Role was both great and terrible to D&D. It was great because it got people into it. It's terrible because it gives people a lot of preconceived notions on what D&D is.
Yes. So many people are, like, expecting to have a Critical Role game when they go into D&D, and that's not what it is.
No.
Like, oh, here's a high production value of all these, like, actual, like, actors and, you know, entertainers and stuff playing D&D. Yeah, And that's becoming, it's more than Critical Role. There's other people that are doing that too. There's a lot of high production value D&D games. And when you see that, you can get the wrong impression, which is what Tanta said.
Yeah. It's the unfortunate thing that I'm glad Critical Role happened, but it was because it did bring a lot more people into it, and I think it opened D&D up in a way that more people are willing to try it.
As someone who regularly watches Critical Role, it is both good and bad for D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Good because it brought so many people in and gave 5th edition a big spotlight. Bad because so many people expect every D&D game to be Critical Role.
I think it's also
not.
I think it's also bad in a different way. It's bad because the popularity of 5th edition is probably the reason why it's so stagnant, and there's issues with it. You know,
there's no reason to improve it because it's
even Matthew Mercer, 5th edition's good boy, has big issues with 5th edition being a bit stagnant. Hence why he makes a lot of his own stuff.
Yeah, he wouldn't make his own stuff if he didn't think the game needed to be improved.
It's the unfortunate thing that Wizards had, especially in the last, couple years, certainly, has gone... It's been there. It's been there, I can't say. But in the last couple of years, it's much more forefront. The deep-seated greed, that might be Hasbro, I don't know, but that influence is hitting them very hard, and especially now, I feel like 5 years ago, we could have seen more. That's why I feel like...
We really could have.
I feel like the books that came out earlier on in 5th edition's age were better in a way.
Xanathars came out pretty early.
When did Xanathars come out? I just trying to grab it off my shelf and look.
You're gonna
probably
see a printing date?
There's probably a printing date here somewhere.
I might have a PDF version open that I can look at, which may or may not
look at the copyright on here. It should be somewhere.
Yeah, it's gonna get out of this bard
2017 question mark?
Well, there's also the issue that I feel like comes up with a lot of some of the products that they've put out, like things like Curse of Strahd has its issues, but I like Curse of Strahd still too.
First printing, November 2017.
That's about 4 years old. About 4 years old.
Yeah, that's about right.
So this mid-age,
it uses a lot of stuff from print. It also just put a bunch of stuff from Adventures into the book as the official class. So.
The player's handbook that I have, which is the 10th print, is October 2018.
That's
the first printing was August 2014.
Yes.
So it will be 10 years once this new thing comes up. So it's, Jesus. I have an actual first printing book from August 2014. This stuff's falling out, honestly speaking, the pages, but...
It's wild to me that 5th edition has been out this long.
7 years now?
And they have introduced one class.
Yeah.
They've done one new class for it.
And probably, maybe a dozen races.
Yeah.
That are official ones. That's not a lot.
Most of them are just the same, but
different. I mean, they're certainly all the same now.
They are officially all the same now. Oh, it's going to do the Tasha's race? Yeah.
I don't really allow that one at my table, sorry.
Yeah, well...
You can't play your stupidly min-maxed Divine Soul Dwarf Sorcerer.
Hmm.
And they're not a dwarf, they're a whatever.
they're custom lineage.
Well,
yeah, custom lineage.
The other thing I was going to add into this is they're surprisingly, or not surprisingly, adding in oftentimes a lot of material that's just rehashes of stuff from older ones, especially adventures.
I mean, some of the adventures are cool. Most of them are not that fun.
Well, so you think Tales from the Yawning Portal was a bunch of classic ones.
Yeah, that's a bunch of old adventures. I mean, that's a good book. The other one, Saltmarsh, not a good book.
No.
How about Dungeon the Mad Mage? That dungeon has been defined before. Maybe you're doing a slightly new version of it, but you have the basics down.
Yeah, you have that. That's Mad Mage is one I actually want to play, but
isn't it just a huge dungeon?
It's a mega dungeon.
Level 3. It's also level 3 to 20.
Yeah, it is a mega dungeon. Mega dungeon adventures are fun to play occasionally, but they are that themselves. They are. The adventure is the dungeon. You know,
it's the only quote unquote tier 4 adventure, I think, which is level 20. I've
played a mega dungeon adventure. The Pathfinder did it. The original first edition was the Emerald Spire. It was actually pretty fun. Emerald Spire was pretty fun. It had its issues, but it wasn't bad. I think you can do a mega dungeon right. You just have to.
Yeah, I mean, I like mega dungeons, like in general.
Man,
so
I just hope there's something that they do in 2024 that makes me feel better. Like it's like I like again. I always say I like 5th edition, but I have so much big issues with it that could be fixed.
I think like that's the thing is like all these popular stream DMs like Matt Mercer, Mark Hulmes. Those are the only two I can think of off the top of my head because I'm tired from work. They all have big issues with 5th edition, but they use it regularly. I think 5th edition is a great system, but it has so many problems that at this point I have begun looking at other systems and going back to Pathfinder mostly.
Like I do know I want to do more 2nd edition Pathfinder, but like it was sort of like I went back for Buccaneers of the Shackled Sea.
Yeah.
I'm doing Pathfinder 1st edition because it was made. The original adventure was made in that, so it makes it easy. And yeah, you know, it's fun still. You know, I can do stuff to make it better because all I have to do is basically be like, oh hey, all these like cruel and awful things that make things like not fun. Let's just tone them down, you know, a lot.
Maybe condense the time down, condense the rules.
Yeah.
I like 3rd edition. I like 3.5 edition, and I like Pathfinder, but I don't like the ease of derping yourself in those systems.
Yeah,
yes, that is a big issue. You can make a functionally useless character back.
Which is why I would, if someone said, "Hey, would you like to play a D&D game? And here are your options." If 5e was on the list, I'd probably pick that over older editions, and specifically 1st edition Pathfinder. If they were using similar things to like what I do now to make the game not exactly the same.
It's a shame that my game has already started because I can't use those optional rules. It would be too much of a pitch to the players at this point.
You could bring them up and then people could decide.
I already know one person is going to say no because he's super new to 5e, and I also don't want to put that on him.
That's true, but then they would die and have a different character.
Rip pirate. So sad.
Oh well.
Eaten by capybaras.
It's sort of like, you know, I brought up the optional rule that I had forgotten I had talked about before.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, yes, we ended up using that. I hadn't played Pathfinder in like 4 years. Yeah. I forgot we used that when it came to Carrying Crowd, and by the time we were getting to there, honestly speaking, I know like Umber was mumbling about it, but he was getting like plus 10 to like
Umber was, yes.
To like, you know, it could still be failure, but it didn't happen that much. You know, like by then like the averages were more on his side. Yeah. I'm like, it doesn't really matter when that happens, you know.
It's all fun and games until you can only fail by rolling a nat 1 and then you roll that nat 1.
Yeah.
That is what Anne basically got to, was could only fail by rolling a 1 with most things.
Yeah,
and then that was when it was called out, like, I can only fail this by rolling a 1.
Yeah, and that's why you never say those words. Don't curse your dice.
But, yeah, I think, I don't know. I think the product's terrible, and I think that, I'm holding out hope for the whatever 2024 is.
I am cautiously interested, but I can't say I'm excited.
I'll be excited for Monsters of the Multiverse when it comes out on its own.
When that book is standalone, I'll be happy about that. But I'm really
PDF something.
Really not that excited for whatever the hell is coming in 2024.
Unless it's an actual
I agree
edition.
Yeah,
I agree, Josh. That's the thing is, I agree. 5th edition was so good for freaking the RPG market. It has been. I don't think we'd have half the RPG games we have now if
really
it wasn't for 5th edition and Critical Role. It's that unfortunate thing that it's this like double-edged sword in a lot of ways, that there are issues that we, the older generation, see that came about because of this.
They're relatively
minor though. I mean, like, it's for the best good. But.
It is for the best that we have these things, but I think they could... 5e could be better, at least.
I don't know if I could like something. I guess
couldn't
like
get a tattoo of an RPG show on me.
You know what? I'm gonna say this.
Me.
I could see it because Critical Role is so old now.
Critical Role is also like a brand, not just a show at this point.
Think about
it's
it like
a publishing company. I know.
Think about like Game of Thrones. Like how many people like give it a decade, and how many people remember that same way.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Critical Role is also an RPG publisher now, so they publish RPG systems, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like, they do a lot of good things.
They're probably going to make their own edition of the game and start streaming it.
Wouldn't surprise me, because they did a one-shot where Ashley Johnson made her own system.
Yeah. I mean...
And it worked pretty well. And the one-shot was pretty good, in my opinion.
Matt Mercer has made a bunch of classes.
They're mostly okay, except for Gunslinger, which is a little broken.
I mean, I argue that they're all broken, but...
Bloodhunter is also, like, you just kind of kill yourself half the time, which is hilarious, but... Also, Matt Mercer has his own actual 5th edition book.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. His world is canon to D&D, which is hilarious.
Yep.
So,
that's why I wouldn't be surprised if he made his own.
Yeah, it really wouldn't shock me if he just made his own system.
Shall we move on to more topics, though? Because
yes.
I have technically all 4 of these are Kickstarter related that I'm going to hit up, crowdfunded related. But I did want to hit them all up for different reasons, so that's why I kind of combined them into the main topics. Also, there wasn't any great main topics. So, this game here, Hecky Strike Alternative, it's interesting. I don't think that's the main reason I chose this. The main reason I chose this is a crowdfunding site I'd never heard of until this week. Gamefound.
What?
It is just seemingly
anime.
Tabletop.
It's anime. Very anime.
It is very anime, and it is very weird, too, because apparently it's like, your commanders bring a squad of Heiki, mysterious beings that appeared all over, that appear as spirits in human form. They all seem to be girls. Spirit weapons or something. I don't know.
Anime girl with a Russian submachine gun.
Well, apparently it's an Axis and it's like an Axis and Allies game or something.
Anime. Oh god, what's that shitty anime where they're all country names? It's just that.
Heltalia?
Right? Yeah, it's that one.
Except weapons. Let me put it this way. This is not the first one that they've done. I know of some others. There's like
there's a bunch of them.
There's also a video
Kantai
game.
Collection does
like
their
Kantai
shit.
Collection.
Yeah.
Strike Witches.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not new. All right.
No, this isn't new.
Strike Witches isn't as bad as Kantai Collection, but it's still like in that same vein, definitely.
But like Kantai Collection was like one of the first, and it like pioneered the genre of freaking.
I like anime girl crusader.
They're anime girls that are actually like weapons of mass destruction or something.
Yeah,
there's anime girl crusader tank is a good one.
Yeah.
There's also the Girls in Hansa. That one. It's less. They are weapons, but they use weapons in high school. And they fire live ammunition at each other.
I mean, there's the M28MG, so there's the machine gun girl, which just looks like a rocker. Best game with you in it wet.
I keep sassing fantasy.
I actually am going to be working on Vesum. Yeah, I could totally do a Kantai Collection Vesum Worlds thing.
I would be so down for that. I'm sorry. You think freaking D&D is for me, alright?
It is just anime all the time.
But
it's basically anime.
But the thing is, okay, I'm not against the game, honestly. It looks interesting. It's anime. Maybe it's okay. I have no idea. We don't know a lot about it because it's been announced to be going up on this Gamefound, and we know some basics of it.
Tactical card game for 2 players.
Yeah. which aren't bad. I don't mind 2-player games.
Fun.
Those are hard to do because usually it's hard to be like just 2 people and not more than 2, so.
Yeah.
Maybe you only have one friend.
Look, there have been times where I've played, it rarely happens, but there have been times where I've played Netrunner, the semi-collectible card game, with Joe, because he owns it. That's 2 players. You have to have a choice. But anyway, had anybody heard of Gamefound before this week? I'm just curious.
No,
I don't know about anything. You should.
I don't really exist online anymore.
Like, but this is crowdfunding. Like, I have not heard of this crowdfunding site until now.
I've heard of some of these things on here.
Yeah, I mean, like
Vast Grim I've heard of, Nightmare Cathedral.
Yeah, they've got I'm seeing a couple previews and a couple of crowdfunding ones with time left, where they tell me there's one here that has 2 days to launch where they're showing some featured projects. So it's again I don't mind that rather than just Kickstarter they have their own crowdfunding. But
I kind of think that's kind of a good thing, to be honest, because Kickstarter is your stuff can just get lost on Kickstarter so easily to put it up because there's just so much put up to Kickstarter every day.
Yeah, Netrunner is definitely Joe's real wheelhouse. It's pretty much Shadowrun or Cyberpunk in card game form.
Nice.
It really feels like the hacking from one of those games. Oh, but I mean, again, this interesting thing is I guess I would like to see if Gamefound would be successful more because it's one of those unfortunate things that there have been other crowdsourcing sites that they might still exist, but I don't
really sus.
Yeah. Is this a good one? If so, hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully it is.
Apparently they're legit, according to Google.
I mean,
but they are fairly new-ish, so
yeah. So we'll have to see. Even if they're legit, it's the question of how.
It's a Polish company, apparently. That's interesting.
Ooh, maybe
that does explain why everything is in. Well, it looks like euros or pounds, maybe. I don't know.
It would. I don't think it would be either of those. Poland doesn't use either of those.
Polish is EU.
Poland doesn't use the euro. I don't think.
Does Poland use the euro?
They use a word I can't pronounce.
Oh, they use their the Polish Majiggerbobber.
Jiggerbobber.
Polish is
Zloty.
Yes, that's how you say it. Zloty.
Zloty.
Polish is a hard language to look at because it's got weird letters and it hurts my brain.
So yes, they have no fixed date for adopting the euro. They're lazy at it.
I mean, you don't have to adopt the euro.
They don't technically have to. I mean, it could encourage another Britain.
Look, we don't talk about Britain anymore. They're not in the club anymore. They kicked themselves out.
They kicked themselves
they
out.
also want to rejoin or something.
They're in the middle. They're doing pretty bad right now.
Yeah, it turns out the entire system which was helping support their economy and their problems that they were using for a kind of united Europe government was a good idea.
It turns out that everything that they were warned about would happen to them happens when you leave.
Yeah. Turns out it was a bad idea. Oops.
No.
Hot take. Brexit was a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Turns out listening to people that lie to you constantly is a bad idea too.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
It might screw up your country and lead it down a deadly turn. Anyway, let's talk about another crowdfunding thing. Let's talk about this one that's upcoming, Iron Kingdoms, Borders and Beyond to Kickstarter.
I've heard of Iron Kingdoms before.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar. Let me click on this.
It's steampunk and high fantasy kind of mashed together.
Yeah. I mean, it looked neat to talk about it again. It's one of those ones that I thought was really cool, the Iron Kingdoms, when we talked about it. I think I talked about it on the show before. I swear
did talk about it on the show. Because I remember it.
They are introducing 3 new classes and 25 subclasses, which I guess
is a lot of subclasses.
Yeah. So I guess that's a
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's the thing is, they are like, yes, and 5 new playable races. They're like, yes, we're showing you a lot of this book, and I'm like, well, you know what? That sounds like it's a really good thing.
Yeah, 5th edition certainly won't do this.
No, it won't. They're only like, well, we felt like 3 subclasses. Yes, that sounds about fine. Maybe one terrible.
One new class, but we decided instead to make one subclass instead to a pre-existing magical archetype.
Don't worry, it'll be completely fine.
Look,
it's actually worse than all of the other ones because we didn't want to make it overpowered.
Of course not.
They gave us artificers, so we should just thank them and kiss the ground they walk on.
Oh God! So yes, they apparently also so it looks like it's 2 books, I guess.
It's also a D20 system, and also I will probably play this at some point. I would 100% play this.
So
it's from 2004.
You really like with a jumping mechanic?
No.
I haven't looked at jumping in 5e forever.
If you had joined my game on Tuesdays, you would know the rules I'm going to be using custom specifically for jumping in case anyone wants to jump off a boat and onto another boat.
Like some kind of weird pirate.
No, you don't want to join.
I thought you grab a rope and swing across and then jump the rope.
Roll me a dexterity check to see how good you can throw this
rope. Roll me 8.
No, it's like a rope that's hanging from my ship, but I'll use it to swing across to the other ship. And while you're doing it, there's this
dexterity check to see how well you can swing on a rope.
Look,
sounds good to me.
It's in Pirates of the Caribbean. I won out.
I was gonna say it was dun 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 when you're doing it.
Alright, you have a -5 to the check because you're running at the same time.
Calm down there, Pathfinder.
And then I'll jump and use a knife on a sail to cut myself down, which Mythbusters showed
make a
work.
Second dexterity check with disadvantage now.
Mythbusters showed that would work. Doesn't mean you'd successfully do it, but you could.
You might still break your legs.
Anyway,
this looks cool.
Let's move on though to this one, which I thought I don't even know how this would work, but how to RPG with your cat.
I feel like my cat wouldn't give a shit. He's the cat.
If you pledge enough, you get custom cat chainmail armor.
Okay.
If I pledge enough, will they give me a cat?
Does the cat come pre-trained
yes,
for RPGs?
Does this cat know how to roll dice?
Apparently, there's something about cats rolling dice or something.
Or do I have to teach the cat to roll dice?
I don't actually know how this. They say it's like it can associate your cat with you. But Damien's not going to do jack shit. I guess it's like just put the dice in front of the cat and like, bat this, please.
Oh my god, this cat looks so dumb in this chainmail.
Understand.
This is silly.
Oh, it's real. It's actual cat armor.
Yeah. This cat looks so unhappy in this picture.
Yeah, that's
no, I just got to that picture.
This cat looks so unhappy.
That's the Meowcromancer edition handmade chainmail cat armor.
Giving your cat more AC so you can't get it away from you now. I don't understand why.
It was so out there. I just had to be like, okay, we're just gonna.
If people thought it was a good enough idea to fund,
it's funded technically.
Yes.
So
243 people backed this product.
I just don't know how it will work.
If you put your dice on the edge of a table, eventually your cat will roll it by knocking it off.
Our cat will. We have a table and anything on there. Though he likes to rub on things. he usually doesn't like knock them off. He rubs on them until they fall off, and then stares at them like, "Why did that fall? I was rubbing on that."
That should have been right here for me to continue to rub on. Yeah. It's like that part of me is curious as to how it would work, and I just
I feel like it wouldn't unless it's like I don't know. Cats don't listen to anything you say.
No, cats are assholes, but they're beautiful and cute.
Yeah, so it's like they have a system as a collection of cat prompts associated with commonly used skills, attributes, saves, tags, or other actions. So basically, like, you take a look at what your cat's doing, and use that to judge what it rolls.
How hard has it become to find a D&D? You need to play this game with your cat.
I think the idea is that you play with your cat and other people or something. It's like everybody's supposed to be like a team with people with cats.
It's real weird.
It is a thing that...
It's very silly.
It's silly, and it's very silly, yes.
I don't quite understand it.
Uh-huh.
You can get some chainmail for your cat if you spend $350.
That's a lot of money, alright?
Chainmail's expensive.
I mean, it's actually probably
it's
cloth.
Like, yeah, it is cloth.
They're not really giving
So
you
I think
chainmail.
maybe that's why the cat is so unhappy. It's got actual chainmail on.
I mean, it's really not.
It says outfit when you look at them.
It's like yeah, that's stealth.
I don't think it's literally chainmail.
No, I don't think it is. It'd be weird if it was. That'd be putting this on your cat would be weirder than trying to teach your cat how to play D&D.
Yeah. The thing is, it could be actual. Like, if you look at the pictures, it does look a lot like actual armor.
Yeah, does the cat have to roll the acrobatics check to jump from the ship to the cat?
Yes.
The cat has advantage?
It has like +20 to jumping?
So,
it has advantage on the check.
So,
It's a cat.
We were just talking about that now they have the Resident Evil 2 board game, and now they're putting out that Resident Evil 3 board game we talked about.
Oh,
Guess what? They're hitting home with a Resident Evil, the original board game that they're going to come out with, because
honestly,
not enough Resident Evil.
I'm okay with this.
I mean, honestly speaking...
The Resident Evil 2 board game is actually really good.
Yeah. I feel like, I guess if it's like a, I would look at something...
It's cooperative, too.
Yeah, it may be something akin to, like, a...
I can't play Nemesis and kill people?
No,
you can play Nikolai in the third board game for some reason, even though he's a villain.
He's cooperating temporarily until his evil plans don't align with yours anymore.
He'll shoot you in a pharmacy and then type on a weird laptop.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds about right with his entire backstory. But no,
is that Resident... Oh, I need to look at this Chris mini. Oh, thank God. They are using original game miniature designs for these people, and it's not like the RE5 Chris that everything Resident Evil fucking uses.
Well, I think it's more Resident Evil, the remake one.
Yeah, this is the remake of RE1's design.
Which, I have to say, the remake was on GameCube was really good.
It's the best Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
They did a really good job. That was the proper way to do a remake.
Yep.
Honestly speaking. They expanded...
They didn't cut anything out. They added things to the game.
Yeah. They improved the graphics, fixed a lot of the writing, added stuff to the game.
Was there any more Jill sandwiches, though?
No, they took that line out.
No.
That's the only downside, and they didn't.
Unfortunately, didn't they have? You could also still have a line that it was you were almost a sandwich or something like that.
It's a little bit. It's still stupid, but it's not
less
still
stupid. Yeah.
Like Barry says some stupid shit in that
they're
game.
Like,
when he sees a pool of blood on the ground, he's like, let me analyze this blood. How you gonna do that, Barry?
I'm gonna poke it.
I'm gonna lick it.
Yeah, he's gonna lick it.
Let me just take a look around this area with this mysterious blood pile and investigate it. Don't worry about me. And you're like,
my favorite part is when Barry shoots an unarmed sick man who was just shambling towards him. He didn't know what was going on yet.
Oh, Barry.
He's a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Is he dummy thick?
He's a big lad.
Mm-hmm.
He's a chubby boy. I hope I can play Barry in this. I absolutely will.
That's
I will only say Barry quotes.
only Barry quotes.
The thing is, like, I feel like I like the idea of maybe they, because it looks like in the third one, they kind of like, you play like tile things down to like kind of build your city. The idea of building the mansion kind of is cool.
In 2, I don't think you build the police station. Because it's been a bit since I've played, but it does have like randomized loot in every room.
What looked like in 3
Custom mansion, you say?
Yeah, well, it looked like 3 they kind of switched
what a
around.
mansion!
That they like kind of like went from like a board to like tile laying a little bit to like.
That makes sense for Raccoon City though. But laying out down like down.
I don't mind that for the Resident Evil original mansion. It doesn't have to be the same mansion.
There are also multiple mansions. Like there's multiple laboratories.
Yeah. So it
would
just
also make it replayability.
Yeah, with like you never know what you're gonna find in the mansion as you explore it. That's kind of neat.
Just don't open that door.
Which door?
The front door, because a dog comes and eats your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one should always be.
Stop! Don't open that door.
Stop! Don't open that door.
Oh, bad. Peak voice acting.
I think I gotta replay the original at some point. The real original at some point.
My favorite one is when the one dude gets bitten by the snake and he's like in the hallway and he's like bleeding horribly. He just says, "Ow."
I've been so tempted to play the Resident Evil remake randomizer.
Oh god, it's such a mess.
Because you can randomize like bosses in there. I watched someone play a little bit of it, and they like got to that like the hallway that leads into the back of the mansion, like into like the gardens and stuff. There was just yawn in there.
Yeah, it's
it
really
was just
dumb.
So sort of like I got to maneuver around this giant snake who doesn't quite fit in here.
There's a randomizer for 3, and I was watching someone play it, and one of the easiest rooms in the game was just all the zombies. They were just nemesis.
Oh no!
There were like 4 rocket nemesis in that one hallway.
Good times.
Sounds like a lot of nemesis.
It's 4 too many.
Well, ever since they said that, I've seen that they've actually done RPG randomizers. I've also been tempted to those, like the original Final Fantasy or
the Zelda ones are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was another Final Fantasy that had it because I looked up on like a randomizer site and I saw that they did a Chrono Trigger one, which I have no idea how the hell that.
Oh no!
Ooh, well, that doesn't sound.
Just think of the time chests where you I'm going to power up this armor in the past and collect it in the future.
God.
And then also collect it in the past. What happens if it's not the armor?
I think it's the idea that like
I think
it's the idea that like the entire sequence of events has been randomized, so like one event leads to another, and they probably have like all the key items in places that you can get to or something like that. It's the idea of the randomizer.
They are beatable.
Yeah.
They're designed so you can never soft lock.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can make mistakes and get into that, you know. But
the only one you can soft lock in is the Resident Evil 1 randomizer because of how the doors work. One of the doors can soft lock you.
It's the one that it was one of the ones that breaks.
Yeah, one of the doors can soft lock you.
That makes sense. I think I know which door it is because it's the one that if you go through it too many times. It's the one
that has the handle. If you go through it, breaks.
Yeah, so you have to be careful how many times you go through it.
Yeah, you have to count how many times.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But no, Resident Evil original board game. I mean, like I gotta be honest. Maybe that's something because I've always talked about getting back into some tabletop simulator. I just never know when I'm going to do it. Maybe doing the Resident Evil 2 and trying it out beforehand.
It's really good. From what I remember.
Yeah, no, it was one of those ones I saw it and I passed it off because the one time I saw someone play the Dark Souls board game and I'm like, this looks like it would be fun, but it's so
is too
much. You know, it's like this looks like it would be fun, but so much, too much. And I think that was what kind of turned me off to other video game ones. It was like, oh, hey, they can do decent ones. And I'm like, well, it's either terrible, it's going to be decent, but it sounds like it'll probably be too much.
I do love that a company that isn't Capcom is doing more for the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil than Capcom did, though. Because the 3-in-1 are for the 25th anniversary. Capcom hasn't done shit for it.
Someone has, at least.
Dead by Daylight DLC. That's it. You can play Nemi in Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight is one that, like, I'm like, I could get
passion.
I just don't know if I could play it with, I would never be able to play it on my own.
No, God, no. It's so toxic.
I would have to have, like, a group of friends to play. That's the only way I could think about doing it. And even then, like, I'm like, it's not something I'd really do, so I don't think it's a good investment, a lot.
No.
I can think of, like 5 other games I'd rather play.
I can think of, like, I'd rather play, like, anything else than Dead by Daylight.
Even then, like, it's not always that fun to watch. Like, I've seen some people that
boring.
It can kind of be entertaining because, like, they react silly, like, they're jumpy people, and then it's just funny when they're jumpy people do it, because then they get spooked and you're like, aha, but, if it's not, then it's just kind of boring. They're like, oh my, I've been captured.
Yeah, like, back to Resident Evil, to put this into perspective for what Capcom did for the 25th anniversary, is they released a demo for a multiplayer game that no one asked for, and then canceled the multiplayer game because no one liked the demo.
Mm-hmm. Was that?
Yep.
What? Oh, God.
It was the weird PvP one that they released a little bit ago.
I forgot about that.
I played the demo. I played one round of it and was mad.
Because the last one I remembered was the stupid 1v5 that came out with Resident Evil 3.
That one's actually decent, though.
Well, I mean, it seemed like it was okay, but it seemed like...
It's a justification for making the remake of $350.
Yeah, it wasn't a good justification. Because it just... That didn't interest me. That didn't interest me at all. It's sort of like... It's another one of those ones that I guess maybe if I could get a group of friends that all have it and play together, that might be fun.
The main problem that one had was it had no anti-cheat, so people would just, like, hack constantly and ruin it.
Ah.
Ooh, cool.
And again, that's why I'd be like, I would play that one with friends. I added it to my Dead by Daylight list. If a lot of friends, and if I had a friend who's like, I will buy this for you, do you want to all play it? I'd be like, sure. You know what? If you want to purchase that for me, and then, like, once a month want to do a session of it, where it's a bunch of us, even if it's, like, maybe versus a random killer, like, that's online, or, if one of us plays the killer, if we get enough people, I'd be down. I'm not spending money on that.
I'm pretty sure you can queue as a group of 5. No, because you couldn't when it came out.
No, I've seen groups of people, like, do
Yeah, because when it came out, it was also really bad.
But again,
that's
like...
when I played it.
I think they've No Man's Skied it a little bit. That they
it's like better now. It also has like a ton of licenses shoved into it.
I kind of want to play No Man's Sky.
I'm curious about another one that I'd seen that seemed like it would be interesting, like kind of like Dead by Daylight. But I've seen people play it recently. The Friday the 13th. Have they done any shit with that one?
That game isn't being developed anymore due to copyright disputes.
Ooh. So it's probably just as bad as it was, and it's playing with friends would probably be fun.
The ownership of the Friday the 13th license is being fought over currently.
Wow.
Between New Line and someone else, so you can't really use it for anything. That's why there hasn't been a new movie in ages as well.
Good to know.
Yep.
Well,
there's an Evil Dead one coming out at some point. Evil Dead, but it's 1v5.
What?
Yeah, someone plays the whatever the demons are called.
Deadites?
Yeah, the Deadites. And
that seems weird.
You've got Ash, you've got 2 characters I don't know, and then you've got like the night dude from the 3rd movie.
Huh.
I've only seen the 2nd one.
The 3rd movie is hilariously bad, but it's like a fun time.
That
was announced at like E3 2 years ago.
I mean, I gotta be honest, like, I remember the PlayStation Evil Dead game, which was both bad and okay in certain ways.
There were PS2 ones.
The PS2 ones were just bad. They were even worse.
I played one of the PS2 ones.
I
didn't like it.
They didn't do very good on controls and stuff.
No, I would like a proper Evil Dead single player game.
The single player game in PS1, it is okay because it is a kind of Resident Evil clone. Yeah. There are some problems with it, like enemies respawn, which kind of sucks. So you have to know what you're doing. You can't wander around. Is the problem in that game? You have to know all that. Like you basically have to have a guide to play through it right and not get screwed over. But other than that, it's kind of Resident Evil-y. The controls are a little off, but otherwise, it's fine. You know, has some issues, but fine. That was probably the best Evil Dead game they've done so far, and that's still not great, so we'll see. Anyway.
I mean, Evil Dead's like a non-existent IP anymore anyways.
We'll see what they do in the future with with any of these kind of things.
See. Maybe we'll get an Evil Dead RPG. Who the fuck knows? That would be weird. I would kind of be into that, honestly.
I would rather have that than a 4v1 weird nonsense thing.
Yeah, like a weird tabletop RPG of Evil Dead. I'd actually be really into that.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
I mean, you could make it in the critically acclaimed Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, blah, blah, blah.
I'll make it in 5.25, don't worry.
Good old 5.25.
I mean, it's basically just a lot of skeletons and zombies.
I mean,
chainsaw hands.
But they also, are really hard to kill, too. I mean,
yeah.
Technically, they don't die.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically, Return of the Living Dead?
Return of the Living Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a movie series.
Oh, that was a movie series. I'm like, this is a zombie series. This is a thing.
I like the first two. I never watched anything past them.
Don't.
That's what I've heard.
It's kind of the same thing, unfortunately, a lot of it. They don't really improve upon it at all. I feel like the Night of the Living Dead in their series is kind of do a little bit. Anyway, why don't we get our deeper discussion topic in, which is bringing a group together, because that's important to what's going on Wednesdays.
I mean, technically, maybe the Thursday game as well.
I mean, I've say 4 out of 5 of you are together, and one of them just kind of wants money.
No, no, he's addicted to money, and we have to help him.
He's addicted to money.
And also is, just a super evil murder man.
He is kind of awful, and we tolerate him. Oh God, I can't believe it.
Don't worry.
I just thought of it.
They're gonna come get him.
I just thought of it because it's been ages since I read it. But Word the Stick, he's the halfling rogue from Word the Stick, who's totally
the neutral evil halfling rogue.
Yeah,
it's just kind of they can't get rid of me. I'm too good.
I hear it because I can
get rid of him easily because he's a sorcerer.
He just steals all the stuff he can, that's why he's there. He's like, look, I'm just going to take advantage of everything. I'll do my thing, and I'm just here. We're friends?
Quote unquote friends.
Yeah. I feel like that's the pirate in our group.
Order of the Stick.
Man.
Still ongoing.
I'm sure it's still ongoing. I think the only one that I knew that I saw that had ended was from those old webcomics. 8-Bit Theater, I think, ended.
Yeah, that ended.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of them that kind of weirdly just go in weird directions, and I don't know, but yes.
I think Penny Arcade is still doing stuff, maybe. I haven't read that in literal years.
Yeah, we have a topic here.
Yeah, but anyway, bringing a group together, now, without being too off topic there, it's a thing that, can be both easy and hard, because the basic idea of you get all your players' characters into a room, they're together, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's you all
work together is hard.
Yeah, that's the difficult part. Make it that they are a group, actually. I can throw all the players into a bar, doesn't mean they're going to be a functioning unit.
No, they usually aren't.
Of making their characters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who's spoken to your character, Lightning, on Wednesday. I think
no.
Did,
what?
Cell got you the
Cell's
book.
character delivered like some book.
Yeah, they would basically like walked up and said, "Here, I got this for you," and then just left.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks.
Well, didn't they like the night before also have like conversation with you about
Yeah,
some
they
stuff?
said, "Hold up," and then there was like, "Let's mutiny," and so my character was like, "I don't want to be part of a mutiny," and they left.
Mm-hmm. No, I thought
Like literally the first thing they said was like, "So when are we gonna mutiny?"
When are we gonna mutiny?
So since we've seen a lot of punishment on that boat, it's like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna go now. You guys can get yourselves killed. I'm just gonna not.
Yeah. I think that is a group which is a lot slower to bring together, and it makes sense for the setting, you know.
Yeah. I don't think anybody has been, like, antagonistic is the word I'm looking for.
No, but, like, direct supporting, because, I mean, like, a few people know that Umber's character is actually helpful, but he hasn't revealed that to everyone. He's just like, don't talk about it.
Just a dude just does things every now and then.
The dude who doesn't involve himself with the party that much, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's a fine way to play your character.
And the thing is, like, it's situations is forcing them together. It's someone that wouldn't normally, like, associate with you, but is being forced situationally to get together with you, which is, that can lead to character development and evolution.
I mean, the only reason that Ryu is, like, on board with Rivia and Belpool is those three have helped each other out a lot.
Yeah.
During the fist fight and like other instances, they've kind of been a central pack of people to be like, hey, we've got one big guy and two people who can do things. We should maybe crew up, right?
We had
that
conversation. Yeah, we have a gun back now. So.
Yeah. Sort of.
The thing is, you've tried a few times, at least, Yeah,
your character has helped.
I mean,
even Umber's character helped with like the rats and stuff and things like that. So it's like,
I have stabbed a rat, and did I even stab the fish? I know I missed.
You hit the fish once, I think.
Yeah.
For like what, mid damage or something?
Yeah.
It was like mid damage, unfortunately.
But fighting in water is hard.
But I also I gave flanking to the rogue who like nuked it on his next turn.
Yeah, which is always helpful. I mean,
I summoned a dolphin.
Yes.
Totally normal dolphin.
Yeah, don't question it.
Wait. Shadow dolphin.
It's evil.
I mean, shadow dolphin's probably pretty evil.
Lawful good, actually.
Sus.
Lawful shadow.
Lawful shadow.
Lawful shadow. Sus.
I think a very recent example of difficulty getting a group together is old Saturday fun times, where one person was one character was super antagonistic to everyone, and then no one wanted to really work with that character.
Surprise!
I think it was I think Saturday group had issues for various reasons. Like, I feel like it was sort of like our original three characters were very understanding of each other. It was like, Marty, Kelmer, and Viren, whose name I can't remember.
At the time would have been Roland.
And Roland. The three of us were just sort of like, we were thrown in together, and, I feel like Roland and Kelmer were just like, they were the buds hanging out doing jobs around town, and we occasionally be like, hey, someone's got a cat up a tree. You our adventurers can do that. And they're like, we can handle it,
Yeah.
So it's like you had your own jobs and occasionally did these little like probably like no nonsense missions together that are just like really simple stuff around town. And then Marty shows up and like throws a wrench in your world and like, let's go on some kind of crazy adventure. And you're like,
everything changed the day we killed like 6 capybaras.
I still love that quest so much. You
like,
guys had no idea. Like, they're rats and they're eating things.
It's that like Domino meme of killed a bunch of capybaras, big Domino, learn about world-ending threats.
Yeah.
But then we picked up Roval, who was just weird, and we just I don't think
adopted him.
We just didn't understand Roval ever. I don't think we ever learned to understand what.
No, Roval. Canonically, yes.
And then like, I feel like even Dranthier was okay, but I feel like what was going on was the insanity was too much for Dranthier, and then Umber didn't know how to have Dranthier handle that very well.
Umber had issues handling Roval.
Roval was crazy, and then like also there was a lot of. It's the problem that I think then Marty was very opinionated.
Yeah.
And
dragons don't like opinions.
Apparently.
Fuck your opinions.
It was also like the, giving a lot of the benefit of the doubt, opinionated. You know, it was like I was always trying to be like,
which is what rational people do.
Yeah, but the problem is like Dranthier was like, no, that's not how it works. I've experienced this, but didn't express it in a great way.
It was just like, no, I'm right because I'm older than you.
That's a lot of what it ended up being. And then the refusal to explain lore.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, you know about this thing. Cool. I don't explain it to the party. Oh, right. Well, you guys just don't know about that because someone won't explain it.
And then, like, you complain when I, like, ask questions about it. It was unfortunate, you know.
Yes.
We tried, but I think, like, it just ended up being a little bit of...
Three characters work together, like, 100% of the time. 80% of the time, Roval worked pretty well with the group. Dranthier was very hit or miss.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe 50-50. Yeah. I also think because, like, I gotta be honest, that was a bit of more Umber's...
Umber was going through some stuff.
Yeah, so it didn't help. And I think, like, when Dranthier and Kelmer were replaced, I think the two characters weren't necessarily bad. I think one of them had a decent introduction, and I think that helped. It was a little long, and unfortunately that little longness also then resulted in the other one who wanted their own kind of introduction, I guess.
The problem
not really getting
with Mac was from the introduction, right?
Like Mac was also a meme character.
Mac was memes.
Memes.
It's like the character, like concept and build and idea, all of that was fine, but it was played as a meme, which really hurt the serious tone of the game.
Yeah,
I think
that's another topic. Try to make a character that fits the tone of the game.
I think early on it would have been fine. You know, it's sort of like Wolverine / Badger is a meme character, but works early on, but also very much so. Like, I think I played up the character that, like, if you needed to be serious, it's a silly character in general, but you know, like, the character. I try to act as, like, an actual character. It's like, I lived in a small gnome village all my life. There's a lot of stuff I don't know about, you know?
The character is learning, and as the character learns, they become more serious about things, right?
It's like, I've had, like...
And then they can retain the silliness as well.
Yeah.
I mean, inherently wearing a badge on your head is very silly.
Yeah. It really is very silly. But I'm like, it's a toupee, and it's also, like, because... It's probably like, you know, it's the entire idea, like, I was raised by my mother with a bunch of badgers. I treat them as siblings. So it's sort of like, it's my brother, you know? We were raised together, you know?
This is something I've said before, is your character can't be static. No, and if your character is static, then you are probably eventually going to have a bad time. Especially if the other members of the party are changing and evolving over the storytelling. Because if you're just like, I'm a hard line, I will only do X, Y, and Z and nothing else. Well, when A, B, or C options come up, you are going to fight the party because the party probably wants to do them.
A character is a person, and people change and evolve over time, especially if dealing with really traumatizing shit like the shit you find in a D&D adventure.
Right? Yes. Well, I mean, like, I gotta be honest, like, that's not every adventure. Like, it depends on the adventure, but a lot of them do, like, even if it's not directly traumatizing to you, a lot of them deal with things that are dark, things that happen, like, you know...
Like death.
Yeah. Like...
Death is not a normal whatever.
Yeah, like, even, like, if your entire thing is, we're going to explore some ancient tomb, the thing is, it's still like a tomb of something. It's still gotta be, it's a heavy place. maybe there's not any, like, world-ending event, or, like, ancient evil artifact, or, like, townsfolk being murdered or something like that. I'm just exploring a place. But it's still, like, the situation could be... There's plenty of, like, dungeon types which are very epic. Even some of the simpler ones, like, it's, like, you're still hitting that there's something unusual there, and uncovering the past can lead to those, like, hey, what happened to this place that led to this? That could be, like, a heavy topic of something, You never know in what form it's going to hit you.
You can't really do static characters in long-running games.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
But going beyond that, I think that's the idea that you have to allow your character to be able to, like, adapt to the other players. And I think that can sometimes be a difficulty, finding that point where your character can find the growth and move together, Yeah,
like, an example of this, my character on Sunday, my Dragonborn, doesn't mesh that well with the party, but not in a confrontational way, more with, like, an ideological way. Because my character is from effectively for lack of a better word, a communist police state. So my ideology is very harsh and kind of brutal, and as we're exploring this other country, she is kind of seeing, oh, it doesn't have to be the way it is home.
Yeah. You're learning the differences, which helps evolve the character. And I think, like, it's experiences together that can kind of help. And, like, bringing the initial group together, that's fine and all, but it's also, like, replacements are part of the group. You have to always think about those. Like, Cole for Thursdays. Mm-hmm. Cole's kind of was hired for a job and is being drug into this kind of, like, insanity a little bit. Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, the cost of my hiring is going to be renegotiated after this one.
I mean, like, they did... I'll talk about what happened in that one if you didn't rewatch it at some point, because it was... I think we handled it well for what happened for this last session, but man, they are a group that just... They're technically in, like, a lot of weird over-their-head shit, even with their power level,
yeah,
kind of like...
weird Death Angel, but that's fine.
I mean, it's fine. It's not the end of the world.
Phyrexian murdered woman.
Wampa bumpa ba. I mean, they could summon their own angel, who's been gaining strength slowly but surely, and perhaps there'll be a rival for that in the future.
I'm sure that'll, be fine for Cole to learn about.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, like... I think an example of a group that's thrown together right away was, like, on Monday, the Pathfinder 2nd Edition game there was, like, a call for heroes. We were the ones that stood up. Yeah. We were like all of our characters were like, we can help out, So it's like, you're like, on a similar footing for that. Usually it's like, whether you're joining an adventurers guild or, like, volunteering for something, like at a bar or something, usually it's you get that initial standard footing of, like, the adventure hook that all the characters take. You build a character that's able to take that hook, is the thing.
Yeah, like, again, I'll use Sunday as an example. Sunday, we were just in a town. We had never met prior. Some shit went down. We all rushed to the scene. We're like, okay, we gotta do something. And we just kind of worked together, and we're like, maybe... And then, like, we're kind of decent at this. Maybe we should continue to help these people together. That kind of thing, right? And that gets a group together pretty smoothly.
Example, if we go back to the pirate game,
mm-hmm.
which is, I think, so far, I think it's been fine for, like, the group meshing, because it's a really different scenario. It's not just like a call for adventurers,
mm-hmm.
or you all joined a guild, so there's an expectation. This is, no, you got kidnapped and you've been forced to work, and they've kind of, because you're the new people, they're kind of like bullying you, so you're like, well, they got to stick together and maybe, you know, pick up some allies or something.
Mm-hmm.
But with my character, I had original idea, or rather not, I had an original idea. The original idea was very different than what I've kind of settled with now, because one of the things is like, oh, your characters are probably gonna do this after that, so they probably have to have a reason to stay together after that. So it's like, okay, so I did a very, very slight change to like the basic character idea, which may come up in game, who knows? But like, there is still going to be certain things that if they happen, there's no way that character is going to stay with the group, because they are a person. They're not a vessel for roleplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's sort of like, I think the best example, a good example of how to get a team together was the one adventure I did in Pathfinder. Like, two of our characters had volunteered to guard like some stuff being shipped into a town for a festival. We arrived. We stayed for the festival. The third character had been there helping out with it. Now doing some other kind of security-based thing. All of us kind of got included in the festival. Shit went down at the festival. We happened to all be at the same place at the same time. So the three of us got together like that. I'm on stream right now, kid. So sorry, but I'm not hanging around. She's trying to probably pet the cat. So that's like the first four of us. Actually, I think there was... Oh, and I forgot that there was four of us actually at that point in time. The one was the one that was helping... was the one that his family owned the stuff we were transporting. Mm-hmm. So that's why the fourth one was there. So then we had the four of us. During that first bit there, one of us gets our crossbow broken. So then in the next town, we get Joe's character, who's an artificer, who's sitting at, like, who has, like, a small, like, basically, like, roadside stop where he's, like, selling little devices and stuff. And, like, we were just kind of happened to be in the area because it was over near the docks. And we're like, hey, can you repair stuff? And he's like, I can repair stuff really quickly. And, like, someone showed him the crossbow. And we're like, then it ended up that we inherited a really damaged boat. And we needed someone to fix it. So we're like, can you fix boats? And so then we had Joe.
Boats?
And by inherit the boat, I mean, like, this guy tricked us on board to kill a bunch of rats and then was going to murder us, but then we defeated him. And we thought that he had owned the boat, but it turns out it was really just repoed by the town. So the town got angry on us. Then, so we accidentally ran back to the boat. It turns out our NPC that had been with us was turned into a werewolf, so we went all werewolfy on everybody. Because of stress. Yeah, because we had encountered a werewolf as part of that entire thing that happened in the town. We managed to subdue him and bring him with us. They were throwing flaming arrows at our ship that we had now owned. So we managed to, one of us managed to grab one away, fire it back, and happened to roll like a natural 20 and like set some things on fire, and also the town probably burned down. So no one was left to remember that we had stolen that boat. It had been infested with rats.
Finders keepers.
Guess what's happening on Tuesday eventually? They're going to get their own boat in a not exactly pirate adventure. So this is a meme with Unfunny One and myself and people that are probably not here. But we were invited to a game under the premise that it was going to be a pirate adventure. And, you know, you'd like all high seas and adventure and stuff. And we spent like 4 episodes just being minions in the town, and then the game ended. So it's like, oh, all right. We only went into the ocean one time, and we did it in a rowboat because we had to go and find something, or we used the boat to get to an underwater cave. And that was the only boat thing we ever did in that. Wow, and I think we also had to repair it because it was broken or something. And Unfunny One was a merfolk who had like a ship speed and all that. Yeah.
Wow.
So he actually had like a tail or whatever. So one of the jokes was that I think it was my character was Sam, who spoilers for a game that most people don't even know about. I was playing a werewolf. It was a homebrew class. I kind of, after like all this time, I understand like how and why it was made as it was. I still wouldn't do that myself, because I felt like it was super limiting. But I think Sam carried, I forget the character's name, but carried Unfunny One's merfolk around, because it's kind of like, I can walk technically by hopping on my tail or something. So I'm like, no, that's too slow. I'll just carry you. Because I had like 18 strength or something ridiculous.
I played a merfolk on an entirely land-based campaign. It was Pathfinder, so I had strong tail. I was a cleric. I was a cleric of Gordon, the great fisherman of the sky, with the travel domain. Because we made the joke of his Gordon the fisherman. I'm like, that's my deity now. He has the travel domain. Yeah. It gave me a 25 land speed, faster than our dwarf character, as a merfolk on a tail. Keep up, Slowpoke. I just like flopping along. I mean, like,
you had 5 feet of movement.
I had 25 as a merfolk. Damn it! I'm specifically built to be fast, bitches.
You're so fast.
Fastest merfolk in the West.
Yeah. So there's gonna be 2 pirate games. One where it's actually probably legit pirates, and another one where the party can potentially be pirates. If they want to do that.
That's fine.
Don't worry, because there's totally not going to be any consequences.
No, there's never consequences for your
pirating.
actions.
Especially
I mean, like,
if you murder a bunch of gnomes.
I mean, depending
no one cares about gnomes.
Like,
exactly.
like in Buccaneers of the Shackled Sea, I am going to be keeping like the infamy and repute system because I like that, where it's like you earn a reputation basically. One of them.
You should.
Yeah.
Okay. This is kind of a deeper discussion thing that I don't know if we've ever talked about or is on the list or whatever. But like consequences for actions, I'm pretty sure we've talked about it before.
We've said multiple times on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of like I hate how it's just kind of like, oh, they just go around and slaughter a whole bunch of people, and it's like, yeah, you're the heroes. It's like, I mean, depending on the type of thing you're butchering, you could be a hero, or you're just actually a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the idea that one of them I think repute is like how much you're known, and infamy is how much you're known to be like horribly evil, and people will be like, oh god, they're gonna slaughter us all, fight to the death. And they actually say like, if people recognize you, they'll either be like, we can surrender, you'll spare us, or oh hey, we're not gonna surrender because you will just kill us all anyway.
Yeah. In a game I was in, one of the consequences to us basically like having to kill a bunch of orcs was that orc tribe who just considered us like the
enemy,
death incarnate, and constantly tried to kill us because we ended up having to kill, I think, a huge army of orc men, so we wiped out like half the village's men.
Oh no.
That's a good one too. That Unfunny One brought up. If you kill all the goblins in a region, the kobolds all of a sudden like become more aggressive and become big. There are balances to doing a lot of things, and you have to kind of understand them.
Do small consequences is I've basically been inspired from mildly from Stars Without Numbers of doing like little faction rolls of like, okay, you've removed this part, what happens in response to that? I roll a bunch of things and then I decide.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, right? Like, for Thursday, you guys haven't really dealt with the cobalt stuff yet, because you've been busy. So I've been rolling, alright, what's happening? The attacks have been increasing, and that's been known to the party now.
Yep.
We have a privateer who's going to solve all the problems.
You guys have a lawful good pirate, clearly.
Totally lawful good, yeah.
Lawful good.
Lawful money pirate.
Mm-hmm. Lawful money. I did.
When there's money involved, there's law.
I did yesterday go into the character sheet for that character, and at the top where it said alive, I just wrote definitely evil.
Nice.
I'm chaotic good in that game,
Jess's character is chaotic confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Man. Yep. But maybe that's a good point where we can move on to talking about our week in games.
Oh god.
I don't think we had anything Saturday. Sunday?
No, I don't think so. Sunday, I had a game Sunday morning. I have a Sunday morning game. It's mostly fine, although I'm mostly tired for it. Because I go to bed late now due to work. Basically, we went to a strip club, a medieval strip club.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because we had to get some information on some missing working women. Although that's not the word that was that's not the word that was described. It was just missing women, and then the rogue or the ranger decided they were all prostitutes who were missing.
Oh.
Somehow, I don't know where that information came from. It was never said. And I got roofied magically by a incubus, and then dragged off to an unknown location to be murdered. And I had actually asked the DM, "Hey, what if the party didn't follow me? And did you have a plan for that?" And he was like, "No, I didn't have a plan for that. I'm so sorry." So my character would have died if the party didn't do anything.
That's fine,
yeah, I wasn't okay with that one. But yeah, now there's an incubus running around the city that I guess is our problem.
No, it's the ocean's problem.
There's no ocean near the city, I'm sorry.
Oh, no!
The city's in the mountains.
Well, it's time to bring in some ocean.
Yeah, that's basically what happens. We talked to some strippers and spotted incubus.
Is it also like a level 7 caster as well?
Yes. Also, when I was charmed, the incubus told me to fight the party, and I nearly killed 2 PCs from a blaster.
Did anything happen for anybody?
Charm make you do that?
Being specific, incubus charm specifically says you have to obey their commands.
That makes sense.
Because it's like normally charm.
Normally charm doesn't. But
you're just
it
kind of
does specifically say.
I guess it's supposed to be more dominate, but not quite dominate.
It's fiendish, so it's like super evil.
Yeah. They're like, we wanted to have dominate, but not really dominate. Enjoy this.
Yeah, basically.
You just need a whip and leather.
Only if it was a lady.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, dominate, specifically the spell. One of the components is the leather whip.
I didn't have Monday because we were down 2 people and canceled it. And I think I didn't have Tuesday because Josh had a small child emergency. So those were both understandable. So I guess Wednesday was the next game any of us had?
That was the pirate game.
Yes, that was the next game I had. It was Wednesday.
Yeah. That was Buccaneers, which I did. Oh, that's right. I did have the car thing too. I forgot I was still broken down at that point in time in a park because I. Long story short, I went out to the grocery store right before the game because I was going to pick up something I was going to cook. I didn't get to the grocery store because I parked at the park on the way. I was only going to go there briefly, but I got invited to a raid in Pokemon, so I was like, I'll turn off my car. You know, the raids take a little bit of time.
Oh, no.
Car didn't start again.
Oof.
If I left it running, it probably would have. Maybe.
The car gave up.
But the car gave up while I was there.
The car gave up the will to live.
I had to wait so long. And the thing is, we even left early. We waited for like an hour, and then like when my dad was on the phone with the person that was picking up the car, he's just like, just leave the key on the seat, you know, and we're like, well, the car doesn't work. We can do that. No one's taking it. It doesn't start.
It's hard to steal a car that doesn't start.
Yeah.
I mean, not as hard as you might think.
It takes more effort.
It does take more effort. Yes.
More effort is involved.
The car it wasn't good enough to steal though. It's like rusted out in places. 99.
You give too little credit to the people who.
I live. The town is Quakertown. No one's stealing it. It's not Philly.
No, if it was Philly, that car would have been gone.
Oh, it would have been gone.
At least your tires would have been gone.
I already had someone steal my hubcaps long ago.
Yeah.
Out of a Redner's parking lot.
Yeah, like, that's just a thing people fucking do. And I don't understand it.
I haven't had hubcaps since, like, the beginning of that car's age, because
my car no longer has hubcaps. Someone stole them.
They also stole the radio antenna.
Why? What?
That's
sure. Okay.
Weird.
That's
I had a new one because my mom like picked one up. I wasn't going to get one, and she's like, "I got you a radio antenna." Cause I think she was at a place that like sold some cars because of her job, and also had some junkers. So she's like, "Can I take one of these radio antennas from the junkers?" So it was sort of like, thanks. I don't really need it. I don't listen to my radio. I think you're the only one that uses my car and listens to my radio. What do you do?
People will steal some weird shit off of cars.
That is a really weird thing to steal.
It's like there's no value to that.
They just unscrewed it and took it. It's like, I guess it's worth its
Maybe it was just
metal.
someone who was bored.
I blamed stupid kids, honestly.
Probably was kids.
How dare they have
to
be alive?
I know. So yeah, Wednesday we had Buccaneers, in which
nothing bad ever happened.
Yeah.
At all.
There was poor Umber missed a chunk of it, and like
there was no technical difficulties. For
everything went off without.
We had a few technical difficulties at the beginning, and then they were done.
Some people were muted when they shouldn't have been.
And then Umber,
the whole entire chat was muted, and the intro.
That Umber's internet, a small child destroyed Umber's internet.
Yeah. And then even then when like Umber came back, I just you could feel that like just part of his like soul had died from that entire thing. I felt so bad about it because you could tell.
But they missed a terrible storm, which could have killed us.
Yes.
Because Pathfinder hates you.
It almost killed an NPC.
Though, like, you did earn the trust of 2 more NPCs. Both of them were very good roles by Cell, but then they also followed through by, like, helping them out. Because, like, they learned, like, what can you do to, like, really earn their trust. And, like, one of them was like, well... Because I think the first thing that happened was that, Y'all fist-fighted Owlbear, which was their, like...
He beat the shit out of a man who was eating crabs.
A man with 4 intelligence.
He was eating crabs.
He's the pet of the ship, basically.
We will rescue this man. I
already healed him, so like we can just take him with us.
Yeah.
But we'll rescue this man, and then I'm gonna make a headband of intelligence like +4 to give him 8 intelligence, so that he's a proper functioning human.
Maybe one day.
That is the end goal.
Yeah. But yeah, fist fighted him. And kind of befriended him, and the one guy wanted a fist fight you because you did that, and then they did
you're a good fighter. I want to beat you up.
Yeah,
it's like okay.
And then they healed him afterwards, and then like he helped pick him up, and it was the predator handshake of like bosom buddies that
Yeah. He's our best friend now.
Yeah.
And then he did save his life when he fell into like the water horribly.
The Dragonborn also attempted diplomacy, not as good as fist fighting. Basically went up to be... Is she a halfling? Caswell? What is she?
Oh god, was like...
just
join
went up,
party!
Basically, went
what
up
was
to
the
her,
joke? It was
bungled, and I was like... He basically aped strong together her. Aped stronger together.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty silly.
It's like a 10 because they're -2 diplomacy rolls because they are not.
I just like that, and then like rolled like sense motive to see like and could tell that he screwed up. That was the best part about it. It's like I probably won't notice that I did wrong, and then like with his +1 rolled like a 20. It was like
Oops.
There was a lot of nat 20s in that game.
It's just like I'm just gonna leave now after Apes Strong together.
Apes stronger together.
It was a really good session.
It was very good.
All the technical difficulties.
Oh god, yeah.
Shame. Also, we fought some lobster eels.
Yeah. Oh, the reef claws are they're an abomination, but they're like this weird abomination that somehow
apparently taste fucking delicious.
Apparently, that's like canonically that's what they are. Well, they have like a strength-based poison in their claws.
Well,
or something.
Yeah.
Well, you can eat poisonous things.
I got super strength poison.
Yeah. You probably have to like do something to like remove their claws or something, and then you can like where the poison is, and then you can. I mean,
because you can just eat poisonous things. The venomous things.
It's probably
they're venomous, not poisonous.
Their eel tails are probably really delicious or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we fought those. it went kind of badly for some people.
It went really badly for a lot of people. I'll just point that out.
Fine.
The level 2 NPC almost died. The level 2
Listen,
NPC...
this is why you have the best healer.
Let me put it this way. I did do a little tweaking on that battle earlier to see if I could balance it, and you survived, but the thing is, your rolls tweaked it back the other
really
direction.
That's the thing. We rolled really bad.
The tweaking actually was to make it a little bit more difficult. Your rolls made it even more difficult.
If we had rolled
average,
if you rolled average, it would have been fine. Like if you could hit anything.
Yeah. Because they each had like 13 hit points. They had like no hit points.
Yeah, they're not strong enemies. It's just level 1 tends to have, if you low roll at level 1, you just fuck.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Dragonborn also, like, by now, like, knew, like, I have a bite attack I can just do.
Yeah. Learn the bite attack. No.
The power of bite compels them.
Well, that's how they discovered these things are delicious. It's like, oh man, maybe we should take these back with us. They're delicious.
And then we did.
Better than crab, yeah.
And someone got a cure modern wound potion or something.
And then the captain was like, I'm impressed. You guys are kind of competent. You can have your stuff back.
Yeah.
Or a potion.
Well, I mean, like, it's like each person, like, had the opportunity. It really does say, like, you know, anybody that has their stuff back already, has somehow earned it, could just take the potion.
There's only the 3 people who got the choice of getting their stuff back, right?
So I just want to point out that the only things I didn't have returned to me left was a gun, a alchemist kit, and a gunsmithing kit. And the captain just gave this back to the spirit hooded person.
Thing I'm missing are my oracle kit, my artisan's tools, and my armor.
Yeah.
And all 3 of those things are very cheap.
Mm-hmm. So it's like,
because I got most of my stuff back. Because a lot of my stuff was like a book, a note, and like crap, like writing supplies.
Yeah, which I said, like, they probably wouldn't have taken out of the bag, honestly, because that's not really helpful stuff.
Yeah, because I specifically made it so that I was like, oh, waterproof bag. It's not very expensive. I think they would have this if they're expecting to go on a boat. And they'd put, like, papers and stuff in it, because papers get ruined in water.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. That's why I asked you. It's like, would all my papery things be in here, in this bag? And it's like, yeah. I technically now have a gun and bullets.
Yeah.
But I still couldn't have used them in that fight because water.
Water.
So I continue to not have any ability to do anything.
You have a knife. That's all you need is a knife.
I am so bad with a knife. I have a 2.
You stabbed like 2 rats to death.
I mean, I got lucky. All right, that's really what it comes down to. I may be a gunslinger, but I have not built the character to be a gunslinger. And until recently, I didn't have a gun.
Yeah, you have a gun now. It's the most powerful magic of all.
Yeah, I have gun.
So
I cast gun.
I think it was overall a pretty good session. Like, I think like
the storm was amazing.
The storm is a fun thing to do, and I think like I feel like you guys had a great time with it, which means I felt like I did a good job having it.
So good.
So
sad
I think the storm, I think, was one of those like good party bringing together moments to kind of come back to our deeper discussion.
Yeah, because like it was just it just felt good.
Yeah, right? I mean you're put in this scenario where it's like things are messed up. It's time to deal with it.
Yeah.
And while it could have been a lot worse for us, it thankfully wasn't.
Yeah. I played up most of what they had me. They would have had you do in the original adventure pretty well. I just like kept things a little. I made it that it was not as bad for the exhaustion and stuff. Like, I gotta be honest. Like,
God, I can't imagine how bad it would have fucking been.
I would have kept one of the things they suggested if someone had failed all 3 fortitude saves. I have to admit.
Was it you fall asleep and you get whipped?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense to keep though.
If you just got exhausted, I was like, I'm not going to have you fall asleep if you're just exhausted, because that's a lot of problems anyway, But, like, if you had failed... Because there was opportunities when you were exhausted to fail again.
I was really worried about that. because specifically, this is something I told Momo about. When I was editing my sheet, when I was setting it up, I put something in somewhere in wrong, and so it's like, oh, I put this in the wrong spot. So there was a certain saving throw that I maybe had a bonus on, which I shouldn't have, but I fixed it. And
Pathfinder sheets are complicated.
Yeah.
The Roll20 sheet is pretty complicated. Like, that's the only thing I have to say about it.
I'm noticing stuff I have in, like, not the wrong place, but little notes I have from when this character was something completely different that I haven't done.
Yeah. I converted this character from a wizard to a gunslinger, so some of the things are not right.
Yeah, it does the good job for what it is, but the problem is it's complex to allow... Yeah. Like, it's that thing of, like, on the normal Pathfinder sheet, a lot of this stuff is just there in front of you, but again, like, it's just a little simpler in a way, like, because you do the math on your own.
For some background information of why some shit on my sheet is probably messed up, I was originally going to play an elf sorcerer, then I switched to a rogue, then I switched to a ranger, then I switched to a cleric, then I switched to an oracle, because
that's a lot of switching.
I was like, I'm just going to fill what the group needs, and no one decided what they needed to, like, the last week, and I kept changing.
I was the same for, like, 90%
yeah,
of the game.
We had two people.
Very early on.
Two people were very good, and Eric was like, "I want to be a Dragonborn fighter," and I'm like, "Let's find a Dragonborn for you." We found one for Pathfinder that was an adaptation for it that worked pretty well, and I'm like, it was similar points to, like, an Aasimar, and I'm like, that's fine with me.
Not too overpowered.
Yeah, it's a more powerful than normal race, but Aasimar are fine, so it was like, yeah, sure, no. Works for me. And but then it was like, Umbra and Cell definitely.
Yeah, I changed to kind of compliment them, and I didn't know what Umbra was playing until game day.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be the Unchained Rogue. He talked about it, but
I genuinely just...
We asked so many times in the group chat.
The reply was always, it's something roguey. I'm like, there's many things in Pathfinder that are roguey. I don't know which one.
Like when I played the wizard that had rogue abilities,
I was roguey. Things that can do that. Ninjas are roguey.
Yeah. Technically bards can be roguey too.
Yeah. Fighters as well.
But
I mean, it's Pathfinder. Anything can be anything in that game. You could. I mean, that's the joke. Every wizard can be anything.
So then I did have on Thursday Children of Wrath. Unfortunately.
Before that.
Oh, well, that's right. Before that, you talk about that session. I'm going to run to the bathroom while you two talk about that session quickly.
Oh, boy.
I got to use the restroom. And I was going to wait. You can talk about
Sometimes you just make a meme encounter. That's that entire session. It
was pretty fun.
But there was some serious stuff before that.
Yeah. My character, Unyoung, is taking a step away from the party for an undetermined amount of time.
Possibly forever.
Yeah, possibly forever, because, especially after that meeting, Jesus. We'll get to that meeting in a second. But, like, we had, we had the Undead Realm previously.
Yeah, that was Undead Fun Time.
Yeah, and so everyone was all like, alright, well, that was weird, and we just want to go now. So we woke up, and, like, everyone's gone. And so some of the people were like, alright, everyone's gone, let's just leave. And so 90% of the party is just, like, getting ready to leave. And it's like, well, I'm sort of from here, not specifically, but, like, I've been here a while.
Kind of, like,
so I went to look for people, and I was like, because there was a Tick, the kobold artificer thing.
He was still doing
yeah, he was working, so I went up and was like, where is everyone? It's like, oh, they're in a meeting. You should go and see them. So it's like, all right. So I went into the meeting and was like, oh, we're waiting for you. Go get your friends. So I go to the friends and I'm like, hey, they want to talk to us in the meeting. And they're like, well, I don't want to go to some meeting. It's like, all right, well, I am. Bye.
Yep.
Feel free to describe.
We had the meeting was a collection of people at this specific shrine in the bamboo forest. People who work there, people who are like important members there, key members. Some someone who was an employee at a different shrine, who was kind of the representative there, and then your mother was there.
Yeah, Mommy Dearest.
Mommy Dearest was there for reasons, and then I kept trying to explain why, but kept getting interrupted by a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
And then the leader of the shrine, Biren, was like, "Okay, shut up," and just cast silence on him.
No.
To explain
Don't try to replace me.
what happened at the meeting.
No, wow.
Ah, yes, Damien is now hosting.
Ooh,
Look
hell
at
yeah.
this.
Hiya.
We're getting to the meeting part.
Uh-huh.
And then at the meeting of the world-ending threat, or what seems to be a world-ending threat,
What was
potentially
described
kind of
as a
explained.
really bad thing.
Really bad thing.
It's the thing is, I feel like, for Badger's like, okay, that sounds bad, but doesn't really understand like the
It's pretty bad.
level of bad.
And like everyone seems to understand. Okay, this isn't. Maybe it's not world-ending, but this seems pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
And the pirate's like, "Fuck you, pay me, and I'll do it."
Yeah.
Basically.
And that's when we decided he was addicted to money, and we had to wean him off of it. No more
That's
money
when
for him.
Badger decided he was addicted to
He has a crippling money addiction.
But I could get Jess's character to come along with it.
Yeah. I
Whatever.
mean, you're probably not wrong, honestly. They seem to only care about money.
Uh-huh.
You were given like basically the task of you're also not even forced into it. There's like, hey, it'd be pretty nice if you would help us out with tracking these kobolds.
We don't want you to fight the army. We just want you to help, like, make them not as good.
Find them and maybe weaken them a little bit, Yeah, and then Onion departed from the party.
Yeah, because
stayed behind the shrine.
Because the party is just awful.
And shit's going down.
Now, our pirate is awful.
Yeah,
No,
the
the party's,
pirate
like,
specifically is just awful.
Badger is a bit much, but like Badger's just a good dude at heart.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy and
Just
weird,
unhinged.
but I guess it's just like it's just a little too much sometimes with Badger. And I understand that because Badger's got issues.
He was raised in the forest.
Raised in the forest, side to side with badgers that can cause them to, be
Literally
crazy.
badgers.
Yeah.
We're teleported back to one of the cities and told to, hey, take this lady down to another city, right? Which is perfectly fine. She's normal. Don't worry about her.
Yeah, I was taking the place of what is it? Escort NPC.
Yeah.
Well, Onion was gone, so it's like I had something to do as opposed to just.
So you had something to do, so you weren't just silent for like however long it would take the party to get down there. Also, rewind. The party was given some items by the pirate.
Oh, that's right.
They're really cursed.
Yeah.
One curse makes that player learn about. They can no longer consume cooked food. It has to be raw food. And they're always hungry all the time. I actually messed up a little bit, Tantus. When you declared non-lethal damage, it was lethal. I forgot to explain that the sword shifted where it hits to insinuate that your sword cannot do non-lethal damage. That is a curse.
Yeah.
It's a bloodthirsty sword.
I forgot to mention that. That slipped my mind in the chaos. And then the pelt hasn't been revealed yet, so I'm not going to talk about it.
It's probably fine.
It's fine. It's the only not cursed item, obviously.
I mean, it hasn't done anything specifically.
I haven't done anything done. And then you guys met the memeiest thing I think I've ever made. The Over Gnome.
It was so good.
The crazy gnome who proclaimed himself God.
He found a hat.
He found a hat and then proclaimed himself.
I have some magic with my NPC, and I'm like, what can I do? Detect thought. So I used detect thought on the one surviving gnome because the party butchered the rest of them. These just crazy people.
They were just insane gnomes. That's all they were.
They're just crazy people. They don't really know.
The highest CR that they had was like a CR3, and it was the artificer.
Yeah, but like I'm like, detect thoughts, and it's like, who is the Over Gnome? And it's like he found a hat and declared himself God. And that's what I got.
It's a crazy man. The party has the hat. I believe he put it on Gura the Badger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Badger has the hat now.
God, no.
So
The Badger has ascended.
The best part is that gnome was a CR1 mage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were
had
nobody.
1 damage spell and it was a cantrip.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a nobody. He's just a crazy dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, it was the meanest thing I've ever run. I loved it.
He declared himself God, and he found a couple of worshippers, which would be called today.
Yeah, and the pirate wants to kill the captive.
The god gnome also died in the best way. He got like punted off a cliff that was like 6 feet tall and then just slatted.
He had like 1 hit point left.
Just like fell.
You know, he could have technically survived if we had healed him.
Yeah, if you had healed him, but you didn't.
I'm a wizard
No
NPC.
No one did.
I don't have heal, and I don't know why I would want to heal them because I think they were trying to kidnap me.
They wanted to kidnap a kitsune and it wasn't your rogue.
Yeah, which was funny because it's like, give us the kitsune. Also, the party like went to murder really quickly.
They did. The party did jump to murder immediately.
Yeah, it's just like we're not gonna give them.
Badger at least tried.
Yeah, Badger tried. But Badger lives with Murder Party now. So.
Yeah.
You're all murder hobos now.
Eventually,
it was self-defense for the most part.
I mean,
they threatened to kill you.
They didn't have to die.
Could they have done anything to you? No.
Yeah, I was tempted because I can't specifically heal, but I have a life transference on the NPC,
life transfer. So.
I was like, I should heal them to make this fight harder.
It would have been very funny.
I was super tempted to be like, I don't know why the NPC would do that. Like, me, Lightning, was like, I want this fight to be harder. What can I do to make it harder? Because, like, I don't think they would care.
No.
The funniest thing is, they didn't have a weapon at first. I was looking like, all I have is spells.
Oh, I didn't get a character weapon.
And so it's kind of like, wait a minute. I don't have a...
You're a caster.
Can I have a dagger, please? And it's like, yeah, sure. They have a dagger. So it's like, I pull out a dagger, and I'm like, you want to do anything? And they're like, no, we got this. So literally, it's all the party.
Yep. It was a very memey combat.
Full
of so much insanity.
It was hilarious, but then like afterwards, it's like, we just murdered a bunch of
Oh god. The realization sets in.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't murder anybody.
You didn't do anything wrong.
All I did was probe the thoughts of somebody.
Well, I've so far excused my sword as oops, this thing explodes people. I gotta watch out on using this thing, you know.
Sword is dangerous.
Oops.
Kind of maybe evil.
No, nothing's evil. Alignment doesn't exist, obviously.
Well, I don't actually know where this pirate found this thing, so
no one does.
No.
Oh, that was something that happened in the very beginning. So
yeah,
the person who plays the pirate was like, oh, this sword would be really good for the paladin. And I reminded them out of character, like, you do know that they're a paladin, and they've been told about weapons that are gone missing, because they did overhear that, right? They heard it in character. So if you give the weapon to this character, they're just going to give it back to the temple, and probably, I didn't say this at the time, probably tell the party where the temple where they found it. So that would have been interesting if that happened, because I think the pirate would have been arrested.
Yeah. It would have been very funny.
I mean, it's not the first time the pirate's been arrested.
That's also true.
I'm sure it won't be the last.
Yeah.
Also true.
Probably also true.
This country has this land has laws. People tend to forget that.
I mean, that's like D&D in a nutshell. People forget
laws exist.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's just high adventure, and
not the Wild West.
We're killing goblins or whatever. They don't have rights or privileges or whatever.
Goblin.
Yeah. Welcome to Goblin Law.
Yep, it was memes.
Yeah, and I get to introduce my actual character, hopefully next session.
Good, because you're a day's travel from the city.
Yeah, we're not too far.
I will be shocked if you do not get to it.
I will be very disappointed if we don't, because I'd like to play my actual character.
I mean, you could just play the NPC forever.
I mean, it'd be fun because I get to be
would just leave party kids somewhere else.
Oh geez, yeah, they just get taken somewhere else. Like, we're not gonna go here. We're just gonna. It's like it's fun to be the party NPC that just has fun and whatever. But like, I'd rather play the character.
The character you work.
Yeah. They've been done for weeks.
Yeah. Then we had Children of Wrath. Then, where unfortunately Momo couldn't join us.
Yeah, I was unwell.
The three that were there, they finally got to the center of Yavimaya. They talked to Multani and learned that, as a ancient being that, is a spirit of a forest, doesn't really, look to, helping the world the same way, I guess that's the easiest way of saying it. Wasn't much for what they were, going on about a lot of times. It was like, well, I could help, but...
I didn't even know why the party was there.
They were finding information from him. It was two-found.
I don't know what half of the stuff happens in that
They
game.
asked him some questions in which he did give them some information that helps. I did do that. The idea was that he's an ancient being that might know a bit about what's been going on in Urborg and, what's left over with the Phyrexian stuff and things like that. And he's like, unfortunately, my connection there isn't great. You have to talk to Muldrotha, but my daughter that lives there. But she's got, issues because she lives there and she's still a young elemental. Maybe you could get one of these people to help. Which the people he suggested happened to be one of the planeswalkers they already met or one they haven't.
That's fine.
So, I mean, that is related to what's going on, and it was related to the weather.
The real question is this elemental person of the lady type and hot? Because what's going to happen with that.
I did say previously elementals, they are technically have no gender, but gender identify, because, they're, beings of living green mana. Muldrotha identifies as female.
We know what will happen.
Yeah, Mad's already is minion. The pet of Muldrotha, I guess, is more appropriate. Muldrotha showed up one time and helped her out. Was like, I like you. Good small being pet. All right.
Fair enough. I guess.
When you're
into it.
When you're like a 40-foot tall horrible elemental of black and green mana, and you do that
People
kind of
are
thing.
into that.
Apparently, I guess Carrie was into that or something.
Carrie's into a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
She really is.
At least the people freaking Lyra NPC lady were all humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't trying to hook up with the freaking squirrels and foxes that are on the
weird.
road.
I did introduce Party Squirrel too.
Party Squirrel was a thing. That's right.
Yeah, Party Squirrel. Because apparently I've now established that the druid here has been developing a race of hyper-intelligent squirrels to serve him, who are also the size of small dogs or medium dogs.
I think I made a joke in chat and no one noticed it.
I probably didn't notice it. I miss a lot of things in chat.
Someone made the druid sandstorm joke, so I did a squirrel and something.
You made a joke, and I looked quickly, and I couldn't tell what it was off the top of my head. So I'm like, "There's a joke there." I didn't have time to break it down in my brain.
I basically combined squirrel with druid sandstorm.
Right. I was asleep when that stream was happening because I was super unwell.
Yeah, but so now the current quest is to go to the 3 other factions in the forest and try to convince them to help out because Multani was like, look, I'm not going to help out, but if you want to try to get these people to help because they listen to me, here's something that just basically means that you got my blessings to try to convince them,
Even though I actually don't care.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're of that level of power, you just don't care about a lot of things.
'Cause, as he said, he can't actually die. He'll just be born again because he's one with the forest. You'd have to kill all of Yavimaya to kill him is the thing.
Yeah, it'd be very hard.
Yeah, because it's a massive forest that's been growing. Yeah. The forest...
You know what? That sounds like a challenge, and I accept.
I don't think Dominari has napalm yet.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet, it doesn't. There's a goblin artificer in that party, and they love fire. Don't forget that.
True.
These are accuracies. But yeah, so, it went well, and they met with the main faction of elves in Yavimaya, who are a little weird. Because there's two groups of elves. There's the ones that guard the border, and the ones that live in the middle. The ones that live in the actual forest have, like, a weird hive mind through the forest.
That's not weird at all.
Yeah.
Everyone got horny at the very end, too.
I mean, you know.
That's also weird. You know, it happens, but like.
I'm not gonna say it wasn't the squirrel's fault, but it's probably the squirrel's fault.
Damn squirrels and their
well, Party Squirrel and his band showed up.
I'm gonna fireball Party Squirrel.
Accept this. Party Squirrel is technically a horrible abomination which doesn't deserve to live. It is a squirrel with an intelligence of like 4 or 5.
Fireball the Party Squirrel. If Party Squirrel survives, I will action surge and fireball it again.
Oh, nice.
Good times, Party Squirrel.
Are you just gonna curse Strahd, this fucking squirrel?
Hopefully. So yeah.
You need to learn blink or teleport or something.
Look,
I don't think I can ever get behind enough.
We'll see if they can convince the elves to help, and then you only have the sentient gorillas and the dragons that live there that they're going to try to convince.
Oh hell yeah, dragons! Let's go.
Dragons will be fine.
Yeah.
Do you have a bard in the party? Do you need a bard in the party?
Well, I mean, you know, you can be horny anyway.
Bard hanging out with some dragons.
It's a one-time appearance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was good
I heard you're gonna go talk to some dragons. I think you need my help.
Anybody do anything on Friday?
We played 7 days, but that's not tabletop.
Yeah, that's not and I played a bunch of Valheim too.
Yeah, I joined in for a little bit of that, but like, I was just like dead.
Yeah, well, I know you weren't feeling great, so it was sort of like, we'll skip. We were gonna do the boat adventures, but I'm like, go skip it. We'll just, you know, I got like Blaze up to snuff a little bit more, getting him like bronze equipment and stuff, and he helped me mine like freaking like half a ton of copper and tin, which I brought back. Look, I may have raided a little too much. Probably not.
There's no such thing as too much raiding.
I did think about like building a second bridge to head to that like southern area which I was checking out where there was more Black Forest.
I will happily build a second bridge if I'm able, if you wish.
Because I just kept jumping into the water to swim across, and I'm like,
the water sucks so much in that game.
Yeah.
Did you see that I raised up the land on the opposite side of the bridge so it was a smooth transition?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see the smooth transition then. That's nice.
Yeah.
Because it actually worked. It worked pretty well, like getting to that little staircase with the.
Yeah,
cart.
I think I was watching the stream at that point because I joined shortly after that, and I was like, "Wow, you got up the stairs really nice."
Yeah, even with a half a ton weight, it worked a lot better than some of those goddamn hills and stuff.
Yeah. I know next Tuesday, or rather this coming up Tuesday, should be the first episode of my own pirate game.
Yeah.
Which I've spent like 2 weeks just trying to get schedules going,
yeah,
and then like I was ready to start with 3 players. I just was. It's like, you know, it's fine. The one person I was talking to, maybe they can join later, and that's fine. But it's just like I'm just ready for it, and I was just gonna like, you know, here's extra NPCs if you want to have like with the group, and like I can give control of NPCs to the party, right? Or I would just like change the encounter difficulty a little bit. But then the fourth player I was talking to messaged me and was like, I think I can make it if you want. And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine with it. Because then we spent time making their character and going through and explaining rules, because this is their first D&D game they're going to be in.
Ooh.
So I get to be their first DM, and you know, that's cool, I hope.
Yeah.
Hope it's good for them.
You always hope.
I think I'm an okay DM.
You always hope the first session's good, and the first game is good, and I always feel bad when there's those first encounters don't go well. Like cough, cough. Some people with carrying crown, cough, cough.
I mean, our rad encounter went well, but the lobster monsters, we could have just died in that one. Yeah. Like, if the rogue went down, or if the rogue wasn't with us, that guy down there would have been attacking a rogue and basically a wizard. There was no way I could have fought those things, period. One-on-one combat, I would have been absolutely destroyed. The rogue probably also would have been absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
So, this is why... It's one of the biggest reasons why I'm kind of like, as much as I like the options that Pathfinder has, I don't care for its stupid difficulty.
I think early on, the difficulty's more.
It's very much level 1 is very good.
The difficulty is the same throughout the entire game, though. You just have more options at later levels.
I gotta be honest that, as someone that's, plays through higher level campaigns a lot more, I've gotten to a lot of those. When you get to that higher level, it is really, really, really hard to die. You gotta be honest.
Really? What about death magic?
Death magic. Die and not come back, also.
Yeah, at that point, you would have resurrection magic.
I gotta be honest, by the time death magic is actually, a thing, either you have saves that are high enough that it doesn't matter, or you have someone that can bring you back right away, I'm sorry, Breath of Life is a thing, and Breath of Life is really good. It's anti-death magic. And the fact is...
Resurrection magic is very, very good in Pathfinder.
Yeah. They've got a good job of, making it that the penalties are there, but they're penalties that you can get rid of if you
roll like garbage.
Yes, we do.
I mean, the garbage
game
rolls
doesn't care.
Well, 5th edition, if you roll like garbage, doesn't care either. I mean, honestly.
No, but 5th edition puts more power in the early levels.
I will definitely agree with that. Yes.
Play Lost Mines. Those 6 goblins can wipe a party very easily.
What level are you at that point?
1.
6 goblins for a level 1 adventure. Even a party of 4.
I mean,
it's not easy.
That's to make you fight a dragon.
They make you fight a bugbear at level 1, and the bugbear can do 3 dice of damage on the first turn.
Our wizard died to that bugbear when we first ran it.
Yeah.
We got punched in the face and died.
And the thing is,
it's also a bad encounter.
Even if it's technically a bad encounter, it's still technically a counter that should be one that players of first level can do. It's the thing is, it's it just is circumstantial, I think, is what it kind of comes down to. Yeah. Circumstance means a lot. That, the rad encounter in comparison to the other encounter is the environment was a huge thing.
Yes.
The water
does everyone's movement.
Yeah.
Only one party member is good in water.
Yeah. Everybody else was.
All party members are good on land.
Everybody else was really slow. Because you were basically searching around for things, you weren't grouped together, which would have helped too. I mean, honestly speaking, you wouldn't have been grouped together. You were at a reef to search for crabs. Those two factors were I didn't include certain things. I didn't make you roll for swim every turn, which you're technically supposed to do.
I wouldn't have had to roll until I had my strength trained.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have needed
5
because of my speed giving me the bonus to swim.
The thing is, you wouldn't have to roll at all. But for those of you that didn't have +9 to that swim, which I think was everybody, if you rolled in that area where you would have failed but been okay, you get -2 to attack.
I mean, that's just a +0 for me to hit. That's whatever.
But again, it's just adding to the possibility of not hitting and changing the... It is
fighting water
penalty.
Sucks.
Yeah, fighting water sucks.
Yep.
It does. There won't be a lot of times you will have to do it. This is the one, this is the only time I think technically you should, unless you fall overboard for reasons where there's sharks around. That's.
You expect too much out of it.
I expect probably it might come up again. Probably not. We'll have to find out.
Who knows?
But anyway, yeah, that was our crazy week.
The time.
So, yeah. I guess that's good for today. Thank you two for joining me as usual. As you've been usually doing. Next week, again, Discussing Tabletop. Make sure to check me out, and hopefully some of these folks, or maybe some other folks, will be back. Should be on schedule for Buccaneers and Children. Buccaneers is 8 p.m. EST Wednesday. Children's 9 p.m. on Thursday. Hopefully, Unfunny One, who's been in the chat, will have his Star Trek game on Tuesday at 9 p.m. on his channel. Twitch.tv/UnfunnyOne. That's one where I'm playing. That's a fun one. And I'll probably be doing some more Valheim. And I've probably got at least a little while left on it. Haven't gotten to Iron yet. And at least wanted to kill the second boss, maybe the third boss. So, before ending it. I know there's some more material after that, but I might want to wait till like a different group or something.
I honestly don't know how much is after that. I know there's more than people think, but I just don't know how much more.
Well, like, doing stuff that would involve, like, the planes. Or, I know there's also, like...
That stuff.
I don't know how much the mist area is in existence, and there's also, like, a fire area, too.
I have not been there. I've been to swamps, and I've sailed past the plains.
And yesterday...
while on the boat.
Yesterday, I found the mountains, and it was like, I have no protection versus cold. This is bad.
I could have gone there, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, well, I also heard, like, wolves, and I did briefly hear a drake, and I'm like, that's like a dragon monster. Leaving.
No, that probably would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. I also couldn't climb the mountain very well that I was on, because it was, like, the edge I got to was really steep, so I'm like, this is not as...
You have a habit of trying to climb weird things.
I tried to Skyrim it.
You do.
Look, I did die a couple of times. One time when I accidentally fell because... I thought I would only fall a small area and take damage, but it was on a cliff, so when I fell, I ragdolled down the entire cliff, and I finally took the falling damage when I got to the bottom then.
Yeah.
And then I got strapped on a bush, and a troll killed me.
I was there for that one, because I'm like, why did you stop? And you're like, I can't move. I'm like, oh, I think you're on a bush.
And then I found it later on. I'm like, after I got my body back, like, stuff back, I, like, walked into it, I'm like, you fucking get stuck on this bush!
I actually got trapped on a couple bushes, but I just ran around in circles with my bow, which is the only time I've ever soloed a troll, because I'm like, I don't think so. I don't need to fight you, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, but now I've got all troll hide equipment, and I've upgraded a few of it.
Yeah, I think I got 5 troll hide for that, and I just put it in with the...
It gets expensive to upgrade troll. I have to kill a bunch more trolls to get, like, level 3 or 4 troll hide armor. I kind of want to get that next. I don't know what I want after that. I don't think I want to go to bronze gear because it's kind of heavy, but just because of my
I'm using wolf hide, which I think is armor or iron.
Yeah, I think that's the iron level. It might use the wolf and a little bit of iron and wolf together, because I think the troll hide uses like bones and troll together to make it.
Yeah. So I am actually geared for cold weather, so I could technically go in there.
We might have to. We'll worry about that when we get to that area, because I think I think swamp is technically next, followed by mountain.
Yes, it is swamp next, and then I think there's I don't know if it's mountain or black forest.
I don't know, because I do know I don't know if they've got anything in the mist forest, but I've seen mist forest when people sailed by them. That's the area that's like misty and filled with spider webs. That's really creepy. Yeah. I don't know if they've actually finished that biome, though. It exists. And then
that's all other gaming.
But that's other gaming. I'll be doing some of that and some other stuff. And there is a game I'm working on that is hopefully going to be coming up soon. It'll be like switching off with Bessem, technically, when I get them both started. I'll be alternating between that and Bessem Worlds, because I've always talked about doing it. But, Anyway. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great rest of your Saturday. My weekend schedule is kind of a little up in the air. I'll let people know on Discord and Twitter when I figure it out. So until then, see you later, and probably see some people on Monday. That's my definite stream day. So if I don't do anything else this weekend. But anyway, bye for now, everybody. Farewell.
Bye.